Good evening and welcome to the April 14th, 2026 council meeting for the Village of Holly. Clerk, please call the roll.
Weinbrenner,
Here.
Wendell,
Here.
Ryan,
Here.
Koskela,
Here.
Cole, here, Kyer,
Here.
Brandon.
Here. We have a quorum. I don't have a gavel though. Okay. Daniel.
You gotta have the power of the fist, Madam President. Power of the fist.
Just in case Daniel gets out of order, thanks. If you are willing and able, please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. You heard that, right?
This brings us to the approval of our consent agenda. All items listed under consent agenda are considered routine and non-controversial by the Village Council and will be approved by one motion. There will be no separate discussion. If discussion is desired, that item will be removed from the consent agenda and discussed separately immediately after consent agenda approval in its normal sequence on the regular agenda. Lisa, I'm so sorry. Can you please read the long consent agenda?
Sure, I will. A, agenda approval. B, consideration of the approval of the Village Council minutes of March 10th, 2026. C, consideration of the approval of the Village Council minutes of March 23rd, 2026. D, acknowledgement of receipt of Downtown Development Authority DDA minutes of December 8th, 2025. E, acknowledgement of receipt of DDA minutes of January 12th, 2026. F, acknowledgement of receipt of DDA minutes of February 9th, 2026. G, acknowledgement of receipt of Parks Commission minutes for February 4th, 2026. H, consideration of Council Resolution 2026-016 for the Village President reappointment of Larry McGaugh to the Zoning Board of Appeals for a term ending April 30th, 2029. I, consideration of approval of the special event application for the VFW Memorial Day Parade on May 25th, 2026. J, consideration of approval of the special event application for Farmers Market to occur on Sundays from May 3rd to October 25th, 2026. K, consideration of approval of the special event application for Art in the Alley on May 30th, 2026. L, approval of the proposed settlement of grievance numbers 25-02 Police Command and 25-33 Police Patrol dated March 25th, 2026. M, consideration by council of switching to a new credit card financial institution with a credit limit of $20,000 to be initiated by the clerk treasurer. N, acknowledgement of receipt of auditing requests for proposals, RFP responses. O, acknowledgement of receipt of attorney RFP responses. P, consideration of Council Resolution 2026-007 for codification of previously passed ordinances with American Legal. Q, consideration of the approval of warrant 2026-004 in the amount of $360,659.75.
Do I hear a motion to approve the consent agenda?
Madam President? You go first. Mr. Ron. I just wanted to pull the council minutes of March 23rd.
Let's see. What letter is that, please?
C.
C. Okay. We will take C, and we will move that. Let's see. We'll put it before closed. So we'll put it after K. We'll put that letter C. We'll put old C after K. And Jim?
A J.
A J, letter J, Farmers Market, okay. J will come, old J will come after old C and before closed. Do I hear a motion to approve the consent agenda as amended?
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda as amended.
I'll second the motion.
We have a motion by Wendell. We have a second by Weinbrenner. Clerk, will you please call the roll?
Ryan,
Yes.
Cascola,
Yes.
Weinbrenner,
Yes.
Cole,
Yes.
Kyer,
Yes.
Wendell,
Yes.
Brandon.
Yes, motion carried. Let's see, presentations. This brings us to tonight's presentation, which will be a preliminary introduction to the work being conducted by Municipal Analytics by John Kaiser. Welcome. We're missing Mike.
We just wanted you to shout real loud.
Well, I can do that.
Voice is kind of weak.
Bring it again now, Tim.
All right, thank you. Good evening, all. I was asked to come this evening and just give you an update on the strategic financial forecast planning model that we've been working on. I know we discussed this several months ago when I presented the concept, and council approved moving forward with the project. So I'm going to provide an update on where we're at. Go to the next slide. So far. Okay, I will try harder. So far we have reviewed several years of budgets and capital plans. We've looked at your financial statements. We've read your water and sewer customer billing records and analyzed those quite a bit. Looked through your pension and OPEB actuarial valuation reports, studied your taxable value history, your debt schedules, and your ordinances, and there's more, but those are the highlights. We've taken all that information and put it into a 20-year forward-looking financial forecasting model that's built in Excel. It includes all of the village funds, although I will say some of the minor funds really are not that critical to be forecasting, so I'm not going to focus on them tonight, but they are in there. We have built a water and sewer rate analytics tool that is in that model as well. So now we can actually look at what happens to rates if we add more capital, or we add more debt, or we pay off debt, those sorts of things, add more customers. We've met with the department heads, the village manager, reviewed a number of options related to operations, understanding the budgets, a little bit about what things might look like if cityhood progresses. We also, oops, that's okay. We did look at the cityhood initiatives, and I'll talk about what those are a little bit later in the presentation. Some key findings that we have so far. The public safety special assessment is absolutely critical to sustainability of the general fund. Without that, things would look very different, and I've got a pretty picture to show you about that. The general fund at this point has limited capacity to fund needed capital improvements. The model currently includes about $200,000 a year to pay for things like park improvements, facilities, parking, and whatnot. Ideally, you'd be able to spend more than that. And then there have been some small changes as we look at assumptions, the wage assumption, or the healthcare cost assumption, or the inflation assumption, taxable value assumption. The general fund is very much on a tipping point, so we can easily sway the forecast, which means the general fund is a little not so stable. So we're still working on trying to find some stability for that. So just talk about what these charts are. The green bars going up on each slide are forecasted or actual revenues. The red is expenditures. That small golden or yellow area is the targeted fund balance that we're looking for. And then that black solid line is the fund balance, and this is the general fund. So without the special assessment, that top chart with the red border, that's the outlook of the general fund. You would be in a deficit position and actually run out of cash this year. So that was avoided, and we've stabilized things, and I know it's a limited term special assessment, so that bottom chart assumes that there continues to be a special assessment or some other revenue in place to fund what that current special assessment is funding. So with that, things look more stable, but still not quite as strong as I would like to see them. So we are trying to understand what we might be able to do to influence that outlook based on some assumptions that we can make. Go ahead. Talk about major streets. The streets funds, as you know, most of your revenue is coming from Act 51, and that covers your operating costs pretty much. On the left, we see that cash or the fund balance line going up if we don't spend any money on capital. You would be doing great. But in 2016, a 10-year-old PASER study, that's the condition of the roads, identified about $8.5 million of improvements needed over the next 10 years. So obviously that didn't happen to the extent that was planned. What I did is I put $850,000 a year into that chart on the right, and you can see you can't sustain funding even what was a plan 10 years ago. So there's going to need to be some additional thinking about how you fund street improvements. If we go to the next slide, you'll see a very similar story on local streets. The 2016 study identified about $5 million in improvements. So that chart on the right, I put in $500,000 a year, and it clearly is not sufficient to handle, the revenues are not sufficient to handle the needed investments. And obviously, 10 years ago, the cost to improve the roads may have close to doubled by this point. So what might have been $5 million 10 years ago might be closer to $8 or $10 million today. So there's going to need to be some thinking about how you go about funding the streets. That might be a special millage. It might be a debt. There's many different options. So that's something for the council to think about. The next slide. Solid Waste Fund, you're overall not bad. There's about a $28,000 deficit there. I think a small adjustment in the fees for that service would correct that, and then we can not subsidize with general fund resources. Water and sewer. Again, this is one of those ones, if we don't do any capital, we're fine. You are currently charging a sufficient amount to fund your O&M and your debt service. You do have decent cash balances in both funds, so that is a blessing, and that will help. The debt service will be paid off in the next few years, primarily. There will be a small amount left in each fund, but the big chunks of money that you've been paying for some years now will be falling off, and that creates an opportunity to either issue more debt or start spending the revenue that you were generating to pay that debt service on actual capital. So there's going to be some talk about what that looks like. And the model is really designed to test these things. So after you think about all of the inputs into a utility fund, operating costs generally are stable. That's your labor, that's your insurance costs, that's your electricity, those sorts of inputs. Those go up 3 to 4% a year, perhaps. Your debt service is what your debt service is, and your debt service is going down quite a bit, so that's good. The thing that really impacts rates is capital and how you plan to fund those. So we want to make sure we look at that and understand how much you're willing to invest and how you're going to pay for that. We are looking at township rates for those customers that are located outside of the village to understand what options we have for perhaps charging them a different rate because they are not carrying the risk that the village customers are carrying. So we want to reflect that in the rates. And then Cityhood Initiative. We've got a lot of information gathered on this. First of all, I will say that the proposed annexation area is larger than any village to city transition that I've been able to find so far. I've looked back 50 years. The population, if it was to be annexed as is proposed, your population would increase about 43%, going from about 6,000 to 8,600. This is based on 2020 census data. Taxable value would see about an 85% increase. We are still trying to make sure we've got the right numbers there. The county site with this data is not the easiest to use. But we've got a pretty good sense of what the taxable value would look like. Might be a little bit more than that. Road miles could go up to 94% more road miles, depending on how some of the roads that are currently classified as county primary or county local are reclassified if they're taken over or left as Holly becomes a city. So that's a question that somebody's going to have to look into as you go through this process to figure out how those roads will be classified and have some conversations with the county about which roads they would continue to maintain and which ones the city would take over if that moves forward. We also looked at what's the increased cost would be to move from village to city. And I know you've had a lot of conversations about this, but staffing, there'd probably need to be some staffing increases in the administrative office. The clerk treasurer role would probably be split, so there could be more resources available for both of those functions. Fire would increase because you'd be serving a much larger area. An increase in DPW, again, you'd be adding a lot more roads to manage, and just trying to keep up with the water and sewer infrastructure is difficult enough as it is. There would be some increased costs for assessing. Currently well, I won't get into the deals, but assessing, if you contract for it, the going price for contracted assessing is somewhere around $25 per parcel. So if you look at how many parcels, and we're still working on counting the parcels, that would give us a sense of what that cost would be to take on all the assessing in-house. There would be some one-time costs to purchase voting equipment, and then some storage space to ensure that everything is properly and securely stored. There would be some equipment. Some of the roads that would be brought into the city of Holly are dirt roads, and those probably would not be paved right away, so you would have to add something to your fleet to maintain those dirt roads, some sort of a grader, to at least keep those roads from becoming too potted. And then street tree maintenance is another cost that would go up. There are a number of roads that are in the township area that are part of the proposed annexation area that have dense tree lining, and to clean some of that up is probably going to take some money to get it up to a city standard. And again, this won't all happen overnight, but it is a cost that will have to be borne by the city of Holly should that move forward. And then we're also looking at the revenue and cost implications of cityhood. So the idea is we're going to balance. We're going to first of all finish the model for the village, and then we're going to lay over the idea of cityhood. So all those costs will be factored in, and the additional taxable value, population. And population obviously would impact your state shared revenue numbers. Your miles of road would impact your Act 51, as would your population. So we want to make sure we're accounting for all of that to account for the additional revenue you would get from the state if you become a city.
Thank you.
Oh, we're still going here.
Oh, okay.
Almost done.
I thought you looked at me and
There's work
nodded.
to be done.
Okay.
So what we're going to continue doing is complete the baseline model, and then we're going to integrate a capital plan that we hope to get from the village. Complete the water and sewer rate analysis, and that's going to be looking a little more deeply at the township rates and how that could be structured. We're going to review and keep adjusting the assumptions with the village to make sure that we are being as realistic as possible, not overly optimistic, but not too conservative. And then layer on the cityhood scenario, like I said, over the baseline model with the village finances, and then test some other scenarios with staffing and other investments, capital and whatnot. What we need from the village is a CIP. We need some idea of how much money the village wants to spend on capital. That's primarily water, sewer, general fund, and streets. Those are the big areas that capital is spent. And also to develop some sort of a policy framework or at least a concept of how infrastructure investments are funded. Would that be we're going to leverage debt as much as possible to get things moving? Is it going to be we're going to pay for as much with cash as we can and use debt as a last resort? We need some direction about how we're going to work this through. I can run scenarios, but if they're not realistic, there's no point. So we really need some feedback from the village about what that might look like. We have some old capital numbers. Like I said, the PASER study from 2016, some older studies on the water and sewer infrastructure, a smattering of parks and facilities investments, ideas that have been collected over the years. But we really need to pull all that together. And that's really going to drive a lot of the decision-making, or at least the forecasting on the outlook of the future. That's where we're at.
On the CIP process, John's already started to help us develop a model using, what our assets are, the roads that need to be repaired, all of these things. So we have a baseline, a wish list, as we keep referring to it, of like, this is the things that need to be repaired, but what we haven't done is the plan portion of it, where we assign years, because that's based on what kind of capital spending we want to do. And so those are things we talked about in our budget work session last time, and we're going to continue having those discussions with the actual model now, as far as with our assets and the expenditures, and try to assign, all right, if we're going to be able to spend this much, these are the years we're going to do it, based on roads, based on the different assets that we have to improve.
And at some point, this model will be handed over to the administration to utilize in-house. So we will guide it through to a point where we think we've got at least some pretty good preliminary numbers, and then this is a work in progress. It never really ends, but it's a tool that can be used over and over for many years to come.
Thank you. Council, any questions?
When do you foresee, like, the next update for us?
I'm hoping in a month or so. That would be ideal. We'll have to work with administration to figure out what works on the calendar.
Does it show, are we looking at what our tax numbers were in 2016 versus like what they are today?
In terms of taxable value,
Or how much we levied in taxes?
we have looked at that.
Okay.
Yes, we can always look back at what was, but we've got to deal with the Headley rollback and what it is. That is another option, obviously, is go for the Headley override as opposed to some other revenue source.
Council? Well, thank you so much. I appreciate your time today.
Thank you.
And I'm sure the public does too. I know we were really looking forward to that update, and we'll see you
Be
in
coming
hopefully a
soon.
month.
Appreciate it.
Take care. All right, this brings us to public comment. Members of the audience may address council on any item that is not on the agenda. Those addressing council will be limited to 3 minutes of speaking time. After each agenda item, there will be an additional 2-minute public comment period to speak to that item before council votes. Council will hear all comments for future consideration, but will not have a response at this time. Prior to addressing council, please state your name and address for the record. Public comment. John, how about you first?
John Love, 200 North Saginaw. I don't get this deal with the city. I don't understand why we need this. What's the big reason for this? It seems to me the place works all right the way it is right now. We're not going to have a land swap or any kind of massive change in the boundaries. So I don't even understand, even after hearing this pitch, I don't understand what the money is involved in the thing. So it's just seems dumb to me. I think it works fine the way it is, and it's just a big project that's going to distract from the operation of the village to embark on this new dream of some sort. Doesn't even make sense. I'd rather have a road fixed than spend money on doing this project. So that's kind of my summary of confusion on this whole thing.
Thank you, Mr. Love. And yes, ma'am, in the row behind Mr. Love.
Mary Blanchard, 3444 Old Creek Drive, Holly, Michigan. I am bringing a notice. This was issued yesterday by Eagle, MPART, and MDHHS. They are finally ready to have a meeting discussing the Falk Road dump and PFAS. However, they will only be discussing PFAS and groundwater, not the other issues. This is going to be held on April 30th. There's going to be two parts. There is going to be a in-person watch party for residents and business owners that will begin at 5:30 at Holly Calvary Church. You are free to send questions ahead of the meeting to agency staff at ploehnk@michigan.gov. We encourage all residents to come out and speak up for our need for clean water now and in the future. MPART and Eagle have had 5 years since our last and only resident meeting dealing with these issues. There has been at least $400,000 of state allocated funds, and I'm not sure how much from the village of Holly has also been spent. But we would like everybody to come out and learn about what is happening. I would also like to read part of an opinion letter that I had recently. The Save Falk Road Committee has been working for years to bring awareness of our area's multiple water concerns. We have made multiple requests to the state agencies to hold a meeting in Holly, Michigan, dealing with all the water issues and have been turned down. The Save Falk Road Committee, Village of Holly consultants, State of Michigan consultants, and Oakland County Health Department have done testing of water on and off the Falk Road dump for multiple years. The Falk Road dump has been a 201 contaminated site primarily for heavy metals since the 1990s. More recently, PFAS was found at the site and the Falk Road dump became an MPART contaminated site. The Save Falk Road Committee was the first to test and confirm the presence of 6 PFAS compounds in one home water well, with one compound almost twice the state of Michigan regulated limit. 2 local lakes are listed on the Eat Safe Fish Guide for the state of Michigan due to fish that have mercury and PFAS compounds. Big Seven Lake is also listed in the Eat Safe Fish Guide. However, that was before there was any known PFAS in the area, and they were never tested. Recently, DNR did take fish from Bevins Lake, but it will be up to a year to learn if those fish are also contaminated. Bevins Lake is directly connected.
I am sorry, Mary, but that is time.
Okay.
Thank you for the update and your hard work.
Anybody would like a copy of this? I'd be happy to share.
Public comment. Leslie.
My name is Leslie Jorgensen. I live at 2351 Hauser Road in the township, and I am here tonight because I guess this is the time to speak when you're not on the agenda. I was supposed to be on the agenda tonight. I was told on 3 other occasions I would be on tonight's agenda by April Brandon, the village president. I was supposed to be on the agenda for an endorsement to be in the Holly Area Holly Area Youth Assistance Board. I am currently a volunteer for that board. It was brought to my attention today that I was removed or never officially placed on the agenda for tonight because of a public comment I made on Facebook where I questioned whether or not Holly was doing enough for the residents of the mobile home parks at the north end of Holly last week during the flooding. I guess my comments were taken as I am not an advocate or it was not the right look, I guess, for anything to do with Holly, which brings me to this podium because you will find I am trembling as we speak. It's not my favorite place to be is public speaking, but you will find that nothing would bring me more than to question my love for this town. Needless to say, I believe that my comments that I made and that are being questioned, whether or not I have a love for Holly or I represent Holly in the best manner, it makes me question whether or not that's the real reason I'm not on tonight's agenda, because there was a few council members on this board that actually said absolutely 100% agree with what I was saying. All I asked was Holly doing enough advocating, as I was sitting there speaking to a couple of my clients who said all they could see was the water rising and they hadn't heard from anybody. And I asked, are we doing absolutely the most we could do for them? Also, what can we do for you? Do you need food, groceries, a boat? What can I do for you? So, my question, actually, can't be a question, but my comment is going to be, I believe tonight's refusal to put me on the agenda has more to do with who maybe I align with, that maybe the opposition, or maybe a picture that was taken at a women's expo. That's what I heard today, where I am actually pictured with someone that is in active litigation with you. That, to me, is what is disparaging. Last night, you removed somebody from a volunteer position as well, who did nothing but tirelessly do everything they can for this town, and then today, you're trying to do the same thing to me. So, again, I'm gonna say that egos in this leadership need to be put aside so that we can have the best people doing the best they can to volunteer. It's not a paid position, by the way. It was just a volunteer position, to which I will continue. I just will not be on the board. Thank you.
Thank you, Leslie. Yes, please.
Hey, James, look, up in the sky. It's a bird. It's a plane. No, it's a super red blood cell.
Hi, Ellen.
My granddaughter made this for me. So,
Would you mind saying your name and address for the record, please?
Ellen Pease, and the blood drives are at 15010 North Holly Road, Holly, Michigan.
Thank you.
I live in the township, but the blood drives are in the thing. So, James? Okay, this is my helper, James. He's from Holly Schools, and he's been helping at my monthly blood drives now since last summer. So, thank you, James. I appreciate it. So this month's blood drive is April 23rd on a Thursday, and it is being an amazing blood donor. Unlock your superpowers and save 3 lives. And the site is at 15010 North Holly Road, Holly, Michigan, at Holly Calvary Church. And it's from 1 till 7 p.m. Did I hear a comment? Oh, okay. Who do we help? Where does the blood go that we donate? Cancer and blood disease patients, 34%. Anemia patients, 19%. Surgery patients, 18%. Chronic illness and disorder patients, 13%. Trauma and accident victims, 2%. Obstetric care, women experiencing complications during pregnancy or childbirth, 4%. And also premature babies and newborns, using for transfusions during neonatal. Now, how much blood do they use for, what do you think, for a small baby? I'm thinking a unit, no, like a tablespoon. I know where I got my idea about that. But anyway, I have flyers. I'll leave the current flyers on the back door, or I mean, on the back table. And if you're interested, hollybloodDrives.org is my local website. And there you'll find information. All right, thank you very much.
Thank you, Ellen. I get the feeling no one has ever told you no. Any further public comment? George? And then I think I saw a hand over here. No? Okay.
Did you say no?
No. No, George. No, welcome, George.
Okay, George Cullis, 601 East Maple Street. And tonight I'm here as the township supervisor. As public officials, we have a responsibility to this community. And one of those responsibilities is transparency. And it's unfortunate when misinformation gets out there. So tonight I wanted to dispel something that happened at Saturday's workshop. If you go to the video at 7 minutes and 37 seconds, the village manager says, and I quote, "One of the things we've been waiting on is some of the assessing data. The assessor was working on it with us, and the township supervisor came up at him and said, if you're doing anything for the village, you have to do it directly through me." So he threw a roadblock. So we are working through Oakland County, we are working through SEMCOG and other organizations in order to get the data we need in order to accurately process this. This is taken out of context. I have a letter that was done by the assessor, and it says, "The village manager requested me to create a list of parcels and their values based on a map that was given to me. The map had no parcel numbers on it, so retrieving this information would have taken up a large chunk of time. But I said I would work on it when my busy season concluded. Then I came and spoke to you." And his concern was he felt uncomfortable telling the village manager that he didn't want to do it. He said, "But it's out of my scope of work." And I told him, I said, if he says anything, have him call me. That phone call never happened. The village, his letter goes on to say, and that if the village wanted the information provided to me, the village would have to reach out to me, which is what I had said. He said he relayed the message to the village manager and the village clerk. Any work outside the general assessing duties, you must reach out to Mr. Cullis. Now, we are under contract with this company, and there is a scope of work that they do. If we need something outside that scope, just like any of the contractors you work with, you would have to get with them, negotiate a price to get that additional work done. Unfortunately, I didn't stop any of the information that's needed because it's all public information, which you can go on Gateway and get it yourself and do that. If the parcels are outside the village, then, and you needed I don't understand why you needed those for projected revenue budget. If the parcels are in the village of Holly, then why weren't the numbers on the map?
George, that is time. Thank you.
Can I finish this or no? I'm asking
If
for a
there's
motion.
if there's a motion from council,
I'll make a motion, let him finish.
I'll second.
we, typically when we do these motions, it comes with an allotted amount of time, 1 minute, 2 minutes.
How much do you think you need?
2.
Two, okay.
I'll still second it.
Council, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay. Motion carried. 2 minutes.
Okay. If the parcels were in the village, then why weren't the numbers included? Again, this is all information that can be done on the websites. For that matter, if the village manager would call me and I could find out what he was looking for, we might be able to produce that information out of our office. My guess is, if I contacted one of the suppliers to the village of Holly and wanted a scope of work done for me, or had questions on what they were doing, my guess is this council wouldn't be very happy with me because I'd be overstepping. Putting the assessor in the middle isn't the right thing to do. Thank you.
Thank you, George. Public comment. Okay. Hearing none, that moves us to new business. Lisa, will you please read item A of new business?
Consideration of Council Resolution 2026-017 for the village president's appointment of Regina Kakos as the citizen at large for the Village of Holly Downtown Development Authority for a term ending April 30th, 2029.
First, I would like to bring up Regina Kakos. Please introduce yourself.
Hello, everybody. Good evening. My name is Regina Kekos. I live at 711 South Broad Street here in Holly, Michigan. And I do have a quick little statement to make about this, if that's okay.
Of course.
Okay. I just wanted to say thank you so much for the opportunity to be considered tonight for an appointment to the DDA. I want to begin by saying that I have a great deal of respect for the women who have served on the DDA and for the time, energy, and care that they have given to Holly. From everything I have seen and heard, there are clearly very big shoes to fill, and I do not take those statements that have been made lightly at all. I also understand that there are strong feelings right now. People care deeply about this community, and that passion comes from a very real place. I am not coming into this with any judgment, animosity, or any desire to add to division. I am coming in with a willingness to listen, learn, and work. Serving on parks has shown me how important it is that our boards, commissions, and council communicate well with one another. In addition, I bring years of experience in community involvement, fundraising, event coordination, public communication, business, and organizational work, including multiple national projects with the Teamsters Union. I believe all of that has helped prepare me to serve thoughtfully and work well with others. If appointed, I would bring my time, effort, communication skills, and commitment to Holly to the table. I know respect is earned, and I am prepared to do the work, listen carefully, and contribute however I can in service to this village. And I just wanted to say thank you for your time and consideration.
Thank you. If you don't mind standing for just a moment. Council, do I have a first to consider item A of new business?
I'll make the motion to consider by item A of new business, resolution 2026-017 for Regina Kekos, thank you,
We have
for
a-
Downtown Development Authority.
Thank you. We have a motion by Wendell. Do we
I'll
have-
second that motion.
I hear support from Weinbrenner. Council, let's start with any questions for Regina Kekos. Well,
I don't have any questions for her, but I do have a comment to make on the position.
sure. Well, I think we can let you sit down.
Okay, well, thank you very much.
Okay, council discussion. Or, you know what, let's do public comment first and then we'll come to discussion, okay? Public comment on this item. Hearing none. Do you see a hand?
I don't know. He's a
I'm
ghost
getting a
over
little
there.
glare right now.
You know, the balding doesn't help. Andy Kekos, 711 South Broad Street. I know I might be a little bit biased here, but good evening, council. I would like to begin by expressing my strong support for Regina and her appointment to the DDA. She is an outstanding choice, and I believe she will serve the community with dedication and integrity. I understand there is significant support for the previous members, and that is completely valid. However, as I understand it, their terms have concluded, and I encourage everybody to give Regina the fair opportunity and demonstrate what she brings to this role. She has more than earned that chance. Regina has consistently shown a deep commitment to this community. When challenges arise, particularly when the Mill Pond issue she chose to step forward and put in the work rather than step away. We could have done the opposite. Very few people know we rent here. We could have moved. Our lease was up. She chose to turn this into home. And her work ethic, her determination, and genuine care for this town makes her a more than valuable asset. And I'm confident that she will do an outstanding job. Thank you.
Thank you. Any further public comment? Leslie?
As you can tell, I had to ask if I had another chance to do public comment, but because I'm not exactly sure of the rules, because I don't usually attend, I usually watch. But I'm much more disciplined when I can speak at home. I want to welcome, if Regina is approved, or however that works. I do want to go back to yesterday, and the public comment I just want to make is that in the future, I don't know how it gets approved or resolutions get changed, but yesterday's DDA board, we're all unanimous with the absenteeism of one board member for the current board members to stay on. They were very adamant that they did a very good job. Some of them had Oakland County awards. So it's very confusing why one person is getting to choose who's removed and who's added, when the DDA board had no input on that. So that's just my only public comment. Thank you.
Thank you, Leslie. Any further public comment? George, did you have your hand up earlier, or were you just trying to?
I was trying to get his
Okay.
attention.
Just checking. Any further public comment? Hearing none, seeing none. Council, Thomas, why don't you start?
So I wasn't able to attend last night's DDA meeting. I was at my son's baseball practice, but I was listening to it as it was going on. And I did hear the public comments and the board comments in support of Hillary and Karina. That's her name.
Yes.
Okay. I have been reached out by other people that also were not there yesterday in support of at least Hillary. And for me, like, I understand the process. The president makes nominations. We vote if we accept those nominations for the position. So I'm not confused at all by that process. But for me, I feel like out of respect for that position and the amount of hard work that Hillary put into it and that Trina put into it, that their names not being up first is an issue for me. So that's all I have.
Council?
So I would like to talk about the candidate that is put in front of us. I am floored by how much work Regina put in with stepping in with the mill pond. Nobody can deny that. The fact that the mill pond is where it's at rests with her and that committee, and which they did all for free. This is not where her own personal home is gaining value by doing this for herself. This is not something in her pocket, which earns mad respect from me. The other thing is then she throws her hat into parks. Parks is one of my passions, which I had to step away from when I took the appointment to this board. I love parks, and Regina's done a great job being on there. There are 3 parks that sit in the DDA district. I think having somebody who can advocate for those parks, who can lend that knowledge to the DDA is instrumental. To me, this is a no-brainer for an open position. Thank you.
I'll say something. I've watched the mill pond go from hopeless to hopeful. Regina builds relationships, she builds bridges, and I'd like to see this rather hopeless-looking situation between the DDA and the village council. Yes, the elephant in the room, everybody. I'd like to see that go from what feels pretty hopeless sometimes to hopeful. I think Regina's potentially part of that solution. Council, anything else?
Yes, I have had the honor of serving with Regina on our Parks Board. And to piggyback off what Shannon said, the DDA and the Parks Department do a lot of work together, a lot of cooperation, and I think that this can only further that cooperation between our 2 boards, and I'm excited to see it.
If that's everything. No, Buster?
Well, I'm also on the Mill Pond Committee and that there, and I watch Regina every meeting and be there every meeting, not only at the meetings, but how she's dealt with it and served this community to go forward with this mill pond. So, outstanding work.
Anyone else? Daniel?
I want to say, first off, I've not worked with Regina in any boards or anything like that, but I've seen her in a lot of boards. I've talked to her a lot after our meetings, before our meetings. I've seen a lot of things she does. She's a very go-getter person, and I'm excited to see the things she can do with the DDA on helping everything go on. I know Hillary was, I don't know if she's still going to be or not, the volunteer coordinator, but I think the DDA needs to have a chair on their board for the volunteer lead person, not just being a resident put on there, but they should have a person who is in charge of the volunteers be on the board. I think they should have another board seat open. That's what I really think should happen, because I mean, I don't know what happened between how come the other 2 people are getting taken off, aren't getting their names put in the hat. I don't know what happened. That's not for me to decide to look at yes or no, but that's what I feel about the board thing. There should be one more seat opened up for the coordinator volunteers to be on that.
Okay.
Whoever, if Regina takes it over, that's good too, but if not, whoever would be that position would be sitting on the board then.
Anyone else? Okay. Clerk, please call the roll.
Weinbrenner,
Yes.
Cascola,
Yes.
Kyer,
Yes.
Wendell,
Yes.
Ryan,
No.
Cole,
Yes.
Brandon.
Yes, motion carried. Let's see, Lisa, will you please read item B?
Consideration of council resolution 2026-018 for the village presidents of Brian McConaughey for the Village of Holly Downtown Development Authority for a term ending April 30th, 2029.
Looks like appointment is missing.
Appointment
from
is
that,
missing,
so
yeah.
I'll just amend it to add appointment.
Okay. Brian, would you like to come up and introduce yourself? Bye, Ellen.
Hello.
Hi, Brian.
Brian, I grew up in Holly. I'm a resident of Davisburg currently, a business owner in the DDA district, and I've also worked in the district for, this will be the 21st year this spring. I did volunteer years ago with the DDA. I spent other time volunteering with Christmas in Action, helping seniors keep their homes in the community. And so, yeah, I just want to thank you for your consideration, and I look forward to working with the DDA and its partners to increase the vitality and the diversity of the district.
All right. Do I have a first to consider item B of new business?
I will make the first to consider the council resolution of 2026-018.
Second?
We have a motion by Colin. Was that a second by Cascola?
Correct.
Okay. And council, do you have any questions for Brian? Let's start with that. And if not, you can have a seat. Thank you so much. Okay. And we will turn to public comment. Any public comment on this item? Hearing none. George? Oh, thanks for the help, Andy.
Well, I just think it's important that we appreciate all of our volunteers. And I know I've worked with Brian McConaughey through the Dickens Festival. I've worked with him as a customer of theirs. And he's always concerned about what's going on in the village. Even when I'm in there getting my car worked on, the conversation often goes to local politics or local events, what's going on. He's always stepped up. For those of you that don't know, if you ever come out to the Dickens Festival and you play the ring toss, or you put your face in the circles to take pictures, this is a man that built those. This is the man that built the old-fashioned game where you knock Lincoln's head over. This is a man that did that for the festival. So he's given a lot to this community. And I just think somebody should stand up here and give him an extra attaboy.
Thank you, George.
Plus, I'm sure he'll fix my car the right way.
Uh-oh.
Come on now, come on.
No, he's always fixed it right, but that ensures it.
No freebies.
Jeremy's done a public comment on it.
He's,
The microphone looks like the battery might have died.
Oh, okay.
Changing it out.
I thought George ruined it for everybody, sorry.
Disinfecting it.
Public comments.
While
have
he's
now been
changing the
revoked.
batteries, was there any further public comment? Hearing none, seeing none. Council, any discussion?
I can start again.
Sure.
For the same reasons as before, I plan on voting the same way. There's nothing against the two individuals. I'm sure you both be absolutely fine at the job. I just have to vote with my conscience on how I believe it should have been.
Sorry, I started looking at the public again. Council, any further comment?
I do have a comment. So when I first became a volunteer in this community, I had to put in a wish to volunteer moment. When I did put that in, I then had to interview with the village manager and the DPW head just to volunteer here. That was my course of how to be a volunteer within the village. It's not something that was super simple. I had to take time off work to come in during their schedule. I had, all these different things to volunteer, and that part is not always the greatest. Brian, I appreciate that you can bring a diversity to the DDA in the fact that you don't own one of their typical businesses. That kind of experience that you're bringing is instrumental in opening up some different ideas of what can happen with not just downtown, but midtown, northtown. I'm a midtown, northtown girl. That's what I like to spend my time. So I do appreciate the things that they're doing there, and that you will bring some different stuff to that table. So thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? My cars have long been worked on at Coleman's. Now, I don't think that I can expect Brian to just show up at my house with my car like Ed used to do. But I know that Brian did most of the actual work on my cars, and he's always done a great job. He's got knowledge of the TIF plan, he's got a practical approach, and he's got long-term established relationships in this community. So I'm excited that I think that he would bring a lot to the table at the DDA. And council, if there's no further comments, clerk, will you please call the roll?
Cascola,
Yes.
Kyer,
Yes.
Wendell,
Yes.
Ryan,
No.
Cole,
Yes.
Weinbrenner,
Yes.
Brandon.
Yes, motion carried. Lisa, will you please read item C?
Consideration of Council Resolution 2026-019, a resolution establishing April 14th as Monarch Day and pledging to support pollinator habitat conservation.
Do I have a first to consider item C of new business?
I will make the motion to consider item C of new business and approve Resolution 2026-019, a resolution establishing a Monarch Day pledge and supporting pollinator habitat conservation.
Do I have support?
I will second that.
I have a motion by Kyer, I have support by Cole. Councilwoman Kyer, will you please introduce this item?
Oh, put me on the spot. So we have been working towards going towards green communities. We've looked at different initiatives in terms of that. We are a Tree City USA, we are a Playful City USA. It only makes sense to do this. We already have initiated some of these pledges that they require in terms of native plantings. The DDA with their Adopt a Garden program has specifications in there in terms of local plants and habitats that we need. This is important because the monarch population has declined by over 90% in the last 5 years. And one of the only things that they lay their eggs on are milkweed, sorry. Our milkweed, and so it's important for us to continue that. And again, I just feel like this falls into our initiatives, our green initiatives. And I think that it helps also work in coordination, again, between council, planning, parks, DDA. It brings us all together over something that I think we can all agree is a good thing. So, save the butterflies.
Wonderful. Tim, can you please read the resolution?
Sure. I'm going to try not to say conversation now that it's in my head.
Sorry.
Resolution 2026-019, a resolution establishing a Monarch Day pledge and supporting pollinator habitat conservation. Whereas monarch butterflies are iconic species whose annual migration across North America represents one of the most remarkable natural phenomenon. And whereas the monarch butterfly population has experienced significant declines in recent decades due to habitat loss, climate change, and reduction in native milkweed and nectar plants. And whereas pollinators, including monarch butterflies, bees, and other insects, are essential to the health of the ecosystem and contribute to the production of a substantial portion of the world's food supply. And whereas local governments play a critical role in supporting environmental stewardship and promoting sustainable practices within their communities. And whereas the Village of Holly recognizes the importance of preserving and enhancing natural habitats, including the planting of native milkweeds and pollinator-friendly plants to support monarch butterflies and other pollinators. And whereas establishing a Monarch Day and pledge will help raise awareness, engage residents, and encourage community-wide participation in conservation efforts. Now therefore be it resolved that the Village of Holly, that the Council of the Village of Holly hereby proclaims April 14th as Monarch Day within the Village of Holly, and be it further resolved that the Village of Holly adopts the following Monarch Pledge. We pledge to support conservation of monarch butterflies and other pollinators by promoting the planting of native milkweed and nectar plants, reducing or eliminating the use of harmful pesticides, and encouraging community education and engagement in pollinator-friendly practices. Be it further resolved that the Village of Holly commits to exploring opportunities to incorporate pollinator-friendly practices into public spaces, parks, and landscaping efforts where feasible. And be it further resolved that the Village of, I really need to like shorten these resolutions when I write them, knowing I have to say them. Be it further resolved that the village encourages residents, businesses, schools, and community organizations to participate in Monarch Day activities and to take individual and collective actions and support pollinator health. And be it further resolved that a copy of this resolution be made available to the public and shared with local organizations to promote awareness and participation.
Any public comment on this item? Hearing none. Seeing none. Council, any discussion?
Just another thing that I wanted to add, when I did the research on this, once we do this, this will provide a website for us that our community can go to, kind of hold us accountable, make sure that we are making these improvements within our community. So again, I think it's another way that we can have outreach with the community as well.
Clerk, please call the roll.
Kyer,
Yes.
Wendell,
Yes.
Ryan,
Yes.
Cole,
Yes.
Weinbrenner,
Yes.
Koskela,
Yes.
Brandon.
Yes, motion carried. Lisa, will you please read item D?
Consideration of council to approve a contract with the Oakland County Water Resource Commission to begin the lake level study of the Stiffs Mill Pond Lake and begin a scope of work for the Stiffs Mill Pond Dam replacement in the not-to-exceed amount of $36,000.
Do I have a first to consider item D of new business?
I'll make consideration of council to approve a contract with the Oakland County Water Resources Commission to begin the lake level study of Stiffs Mill Pond, and in the amount of $36,000.
I will second.
I have a motion by Weinbrenner. I have support from Kyer. Tim, can you please introduce this item?
I absolutely can, and we actually have Ryan from the Water Resource Commission here as well. He could probably answer any specific questions that you have. Ryan has been invaluable to us through this whole process, working with the Water Resource Commission, just been on call to answer any questions, to help us out, assist us in any way, and we just really appreciate all he's done for us, and I'm really grateful that he's part of the Oakland County team that we can trust with this. But there has been some forward momentum with the lake level process as the committee finished the petition process. A couple updates. On March 25th, the Oakland County Economic Development and Infrastructure Committee approved the legal lake level documents and passed it on to the county commission. On April 8th, the Oakland County Commissioners voted and approved to establish a normal lake level for Stiffs Mill Pond. And now we get to work. So to start the next steps of the process, we would like to contract with Oakland County, the Water Resources Commission, to begin the legal lake level study and to start planning out the dam replacement. Some of the work the commission, the Water Resource Commission, will be doing themselves. Some of it they'll be subcontracting to Spicer. They will invoice us for the amount, and basically that $36,000 would be an escrow with them to complete any of the work that needs to be done. And that's just similar to whenever someone contracts out us to do any kind of work like that as well. And it'll be, the total for this stage of the work is not to exceed the amount of $36,000, which will be paid to the Water Resource Commission. And this will be out of the lake improvement money that we had previously put aside for this.
Thank you. Any public comment on this item? Mary?
Mary Blanchard, 3444 Old Creek Drive, Holly, Michigan. And I appreciate the efforts that have been made by the Stiffs Mill Pond group as well as the Village Council in furthering this, and for Oakland County Water Resource Commission for continuing to establish the lake level. Thank you.
Thank you, Mary. Any further public comment? Regina?
Regina Keikos, 711 South Broad Street here in Holly. I just wanted to say Ryan, he truly has been absolutely invaluable to us. He's made himself readily available for anyone on the committee, including residents in this special assessment district that would occur. He's just been fantastic, really trying to help us move things forward as we are on a very accelerated timeline to draw the water back up. So these types of things happening quickly are very important right now, or we could potentially lose our opportunity. So I really appreciate him showing up tonight and for this item being on the agenda. Thank you.
Thank you, Regina. Any further public comment? Hearing none, seeing none. Any discussion, council?
I think we could not have done this at a better time, honestly. If you are looking around anywhere in Michigan right now, there are several dams that are at that point of being breached, so congratulations and thank you so much.
Council? Okay. Clerk, Clerk, please call the roll.
Wendell,
Yes.
Ryan,
Yes.
Cole,
Yes.
Weinbrenner,
Yes.
Koskela,
Yes.
Kyer,
Yes.
Brandon.
Yes, motion carried. Lisa, will you please read item E?
Acknowledgement of council of the change on billing to a ready-to-serve charge redesignation.
Do I have a first to consider item E of new business?
So moved. I'll make that motion.
Motion by Koskela.
Support by Cole.
This was an item that came from a finance committee recommendation. Tim, will you please introduce this item?
Yes, and just so we're certain, I do not believe this item actually needs a vote. It's just more of an item of recognition that has happened. This was a recommendation by Finance Committee. It was more of an administrative change on some of our items. And so just wanted to, for full transparency, we wanted to put it as an agenda item, let everyone know what was happening. So it's the result of a recommendation from the Finance Committee, also from Municipal Analytics after talking to John when reviewing the water and sewer information, is simply a relabeling of what was formerly referred to as our billing from water or sewer debt to a ready-to-serve charge. This correction is only intended to better define this charge for clarity to residents. This change has already been implemented for future bills. What is a ready-to-serve charge? A ready-to-serve charge, also called base charge, availability charge, or fixed service charge for water or sewer utilities, is a reoccurring fixed fee charged to customers simply for having access to utility systems, regardless of whether or how much water or sewer service they actually use during the billing period. In plain language, essentially the cost of having the tap available, separate from the cost of water or sewer service actually flowing through it. Think of it more like a monthly subscription fee that ensures the utility can maintain the infrastructure needed to serve you on that demand. We're not changing the rates or anything like that with this. It's just the relabeling of it, to accurately reflect what it should have been the entire time.
Any public comment on this item? Anna?
Anna Matson, 15091 Western Valley. On January 15th, which we'll talk more about in a little bit, I did a FOYA asking for all documentation that authorizes the Village of Holly's Water and Sewer Department to levy debt service charges labeled WD and SD on the monthly bill. This may have been by charter, ordinance, resolution, or something similar. If there was a coordinating Village of Holly decision to authorize those charges, I would like the minutes of that meeting. And originally what was provided to me was a link to the water ordinance. The water ordinance says nothing about those water and sewer debt charges. So I had asked, I want to be clear, I could have sued right there and then for those records because I was not provided what I asked for. But unlike what some of you think, I'm not just in this to sue every single time. So I took the civil route And I just reached out to the deputy treasurer, who apparently handles all the FOIAs on behalf of the clerk. So I reached out to Tessa. I said, listen, I think there may have been a mistake. This is not what I asked for. I asked for the authorizing documents. This ordinance does not provide the authorizing documents. She waited 2 weeks, which would have been past the Michigan law, and acted like it was a new FOIA request. So 10 days later, I get a bill for, I think it was like $70 for a new FOIA. And then later that day, she said, never mind, I found it, here you go. And it was an amendment to, it was a 2017 amendment to the debt charges. But that's not what authorized the charges. So I kept pushing. I said, okay, no, that's not what did it. She eventually came back with the 2009 resolution. And it's still very questionable whether that authorized the charges. So it's not surprising that this happened, because really it seems like there was no council decision to authorize the sewer and water debt charges in the first place. If this was truly to make things easier for the public, it doesn't. Ready-to-serve charges, I talked to a couple people today, they're like, what's that? Everyone knows what a water and sewer debt charge is. But this really does look like a cover-up, because you guys have a lot of explaining to do why 2 bonds are expired and still being charged, and 2 of the bonds are being charged out of water and sewer debt charges, and they don't say that they legally can be charged out of those funds, that they're supposed to be paid for out of general funds or like property taxes. So I just want to say, put this on the record, that this looks like a cover-up after my investigation into these debt charges. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Manson. Any further public comment? Hearing none, seeing none. Council, any discussion? Thomas?
I have a question, and it goes based off of our ordinance for the water supply and sewage disposal rates. It states that A, the rates of the water supply and sewage disposal shall be established from time to time by resolution of village council. Such rates shall be based on volume usage charge. And B, the volume usage charge covers administrative, operation, maintenance, and repairs, repayment, and/or refunding of outstanding debt and reserves required by the bonding instrument, future capital needs, and respective systems. The village applies the charge to every user of water supply service and/or sewage disposal service when the meter registered water flows. So my question is, how can we have this charge on there if it's already supposed to be covered by the rates per our ordinance? Do we need to revisit ordinances first before we can even charge this? And in the charter, if you need to look for it, it's 5109.
So I'll have to review, I've reviewed, I know this section, and we've reviewed it quite a bit. I would have to get with the village attorney and actually go over it before, looking it up right now and trying to tap dance and answer out without actually doing it like a proper review, so.
Council?
So I can say that we started working as a finance committee on this back in 2025. We started looking at what our area around us is billing, how that looks. Once we started contracting with municipal analytics, that opened up a whole nother thing for us. Some of the areas around us that use ready-to-serve charge are areas like Linden, Fenton. These are well-established communities who also have ready-to-use charge. What they did, we researched different municipalities in both Oakland and Genesee County. We looked at water rates from multiple places, historic water rates of what it once looked like when it was billing township, different than billing the village. This has been an ongoing thing for over a year that we've been putting in time and work on. Municipal analytics was a huge tool for us, but this is not something that just came to light a couple months ago. We have been meeting regularly for a year about it.
Council?
Yeah. To that point, there's an email from 2025. I just searched ready to serve, so that was the first instance I think I can find in the email, was discussing readiness. We called it readiness to serve, but essentially the same thing. So we've been discussing it for a long time. There's just been a lot of different things we've been trying to, different parts we've been waiting on, or Hunt Moran is no longer with us, and then we have a new company come in. So it has been something we've been trying to do for quite some time. I thought I had something else too, so give me one moment.
Sure. Council?
I can piggyback off of Jim on some of that. The Plant Moran things, we knew right away. My very first council meeting was their January of '25 moment where they talked to us about how we were in a deficit and all of those things. So those were things that we first came with, like what does this look like? What is going on with the water? It isn't anything that any one of us, certainly not me, who sat down and knew what was what, and I am not a municipal expert in utility billing. So it took a lot of research, and it's not something like we need to reflect, and what we're charging and what this looks like has to be evolved. This is going back 20 years of old ideas, old debts, old everything, and it's not been modernized whatsoever. Records are in what boxes? They're not all online. Shame on us. Shame, I mean, what do you say? But we need to modernize our records like this.
You find it anything, Jim?
No.
Okay.
No, I'm not trying to say that we shouldn't change up how things are billed. I'm just saying that we do need to make sure we're following state laws and even our local ordinances.
Absolutely.
On how things are being done.
I fully support that.
I'd like to hear the attorneys weigh in on that a little bit.
I think Tim said they're gonna get together and.
Yeah, they don't have all the documents in front of them, but they'll look into it. And I think if I remember right, Tim, you said we're not gonna vote on this today. It's just a discussion item.
Yeah, you owe answers back based on the questions, just to, because we have been, that's something that, even when we're looking at township rates, is, when John and I talk about it, we say, all right, we have to make sure that we're completely in compliance with Bolt on everything, that, if there is any increase, it has to be completely representative of what that additional cost to the system would be. It can't be arbitrary, it has to be all these things. So, yeah, we owe you specific answers on that question to look into. I know that he's furiously looking through it as well right now, but we'll
What I was saying, before we agree or have the name changed on a thing, I'd like to hear the attorney weigh into what it is.
And that won't be tonight.
I know, I kind of figured that. I just wanted to make sure we knew that we weren't gonna walk out here with it being changed and all of a sudden.
Well, no, I mean, I think they specified that,
No,
that
yeah,
we're
yeah.
not making a vote tonight.
No vote today.
This is just kind of to come across your desk, because like they said,
FYI.
we've been working as a finance committee on this for a year, looking at water meter sizes, ready-to-serve charges, people that are outside of the village, we've been looking at all the different avenues, and this is just something that we've come across that, like Shannon said, to get us here in the 20th century.
Okay. Well, if that's it, council. Lisa, will you please read item F?
Do
Consider,
I need to drag my motion?
Do we need to retract a motion since we're not voting?
There's one already made.
What was the motion?
To accept it or something?
acknowledge,
No,
to
to-
just acknowledge.
To acknowledge it?
Council change.
We have a motion and a second on the floor.
Probably would be appropriate to withdraw it with whoever seconded it as well.
I will
That would
withdraw my motion.
Make for a clean record.
I will withdraw my second.
There we go. Thank you. Good question. Okay. Lisa, will you please read item F?
consideration of village council of the purchase of the live fire training prop, as well as training fire extinguishers in the not-to-exceed amount of $5,000.
Do I have a first to consider item F of new business?
I'll make the consideration of item F for new business for the consideration of purchase of training equipment for the fire department not to exceed $5,000.
I'll second it.
Motion by Wendell, second by Weinbrenner. Chief Watson, welcome.
Good evening, council. Thank you. In front of you, you're going to see council action request for the consideration of purchase equipment. But before I get too far along with this, I want to be very transparent and clear. Not $1 of taxpayer money will be used in the purchase of this equipment. We received a $2,000 match grant from the state of Michigan, and we have raised about $9,800 in training revenue since we launched our educational program at the fire department. So we'll be taking money from that to pay it, and then we'll be reimbursed another $2,000 from the state. So I want to be very clear that I'm not asking to spend any of the taxpayer dollars. This is money that we put in for a grant and money that we've raised through educational processes. This live fire training prop is basically, I would like to ask the board, or the commission here, council, how many of you have discharged a fire extinguisher? By raise of hands. Wow, impressive. Very impressive. I wasn't expecting that. So if you go into a lot of our businesses, a good majority of our business owners or our citizens in our community have not discharged a fire extinguisher. So what this will do, will provide a training opportunity, and we're trying to make it a free of charge training opportunity for business owners and residents to come in. We're going to set up a live fire prop and give you a fire extinguisher, give you, as you can see, I gave you a slide deck too. We'll give you some educational instruction, and then we'll take you out into the parking lot, and we'll actually do some live burns and then extinguish that with some extinguishers. So I think this request brings a lot of value, fire prevention to the community, but most importantly, as I led this conversation, not $1 of taxpayer money will be used in the purchase of this. I'd be willing to answer any more questions on it. You've seen my council action request and the several pages that were included with it.
Okay, council, any questions?
Is there a sign-up sheet that people have to go to sign up for this, or?
Not yet, Daniel. I have to get council approval first, and then we have to purchase the equipment and then get it in service. But it'll be very similar to our CPR program, which is very successful right now. We're going into our 3rd month, and that class is, I believe, got 7 or 8 people signed up already. So for every person that we're able to train on CPR, could be a life saved. With this, every person that we save or train on with fire extinguishers could be a structure or property conservation. So I'm very excited to get this out and rolling. I would hope by the fall we should have this up and running.
Jim?
So if I'm remembering correctly, this is one you got a grant for too?
Yes, sir, $2,000 from the state.
So thank you.
Thank you.
Was it difficult getting the grant? Did they give you much?
Every grant has a little bit of...
Very difficult, thank you.
I also have to give credit to Kurt Nitschke, Assistant Chief. He's on vacation this week. He also put a lot of work into this project, and it is a passion as his as well, too.
Oh, thank you, Chief, and thank you to your assistant. Go ahead, Thomas.
If anyone hasn't actually viewed the packet online, he has a lot of great information about different classes of fire, how to extinguish them. It's a good read. I would suggest going on and learning something from it.
Thank you, Mr. Ryan. I appreciate that.
This is a great job with that packet.
Thank you, sir.
Okay.
Are these fire extinguishers refillable?
Yeah.
Council? Okay, thank you, Chief. Any public comment on this item? Andy? Your hand shot up so fast. Pick me.
Andy Keikos, 711 South Broad Street. I've had several opportunities to go through this type of training. It is absolutely invaluable. I mean, I can already see you guys are, it looks pretty good, but it really is. And it would be a really big missed opportunity to not approve this. So, thanks.
Thank you. Any further public comment? Brian?
I fully support that, but I wanted to talk about the last item under new business E. I didn't know if there was an option for public comment on that.
I'm sorry, no, we have to stick to the item that we're on.
Is there an option for comment later, or opportunity?
Is there another public comment at the end? I don't think so. No, we used to do that. We don't do that anymore. But you can always feel free to submit questions or come just talk to us and chat,
Okay.
you know,
All right, thank you.
afterwards. Any further comments on item F? Okay, hearing none and seeing none. Council, any discussion?
Once again, I appreciate the fire department's willingness to reach out for avenues for funding. It is one of those things that we all know that the village is trying to find as many creative funding opportunities as we can, and you guys are on top of it, so thank you for doing that.
I second what Shannon said. Great job by our fire department for everything they do, and the initiative of doing this is, I'm sure you put a lot of your own time into it, and I want to say thank you.
Clerk, please call the roll.
Weinbrenner,
Yes.
Cascola,
Yes.
Kyer,
Yes.
Wendell,
Yes.
Ryan,
Yes.
Cole,
Yes.
Brandon.
Yes, motion carried. Thank you. Lisa, will you please read item G?
Consideration of Council Resolution 2026-20 of appointing the Oakland County Emergency Management Coordinator as the Village of Holly Emergency Management Coordinator and designating an emergency management liaison.
Do I have a first to consider item G of new business?
We don't got to read all that, yes.
Are you making a motion?
I'll make a motion, but I'll slaughter all that.
You'll make a motion to approve item G of new business?
Yes, I make a motion to approve item G of new business resolution 2026-20.
Do we have support?
I'll second it.
We have a motion by Wendell. We have support by Weinbrenner. Chief Watson, will you please introduce this item?
Thank you again, council, I appreciate that. This should have been included in last month's packet, and I apologize, I dropped the ball with our Oakland County management process that we put in. This is just designating Oakland County as the emergency management coordinator and myself as the liaison. In the event that we get a, hopefully never ever, large-scale event and we have to bring in additional resources like Oakland County, they would coordinate that large disaster scene, and then I would be your liaison that would report back to the community and the village manager on the status of that disaster.
Council, any questions for the chief?
I would like to add, this is also no cost to the community.
Thank you for adding that, because I was going to ask that.
Yep.
Keep that up, chief.
I like free.
Free's the best four-letter word.
Okay, any public comment on this item? Thank you, chief.
Thank you.
Hearing none. Seeing no public comment? Okay. Council, any discussion?
I can't think of a better person in our community to take this role. I mean, with all the training we've seen him go through, with the trains and all that other stuff, yeah.
Council?
That doesn't affect nothing that you do, is it? Because you're in charge of any kind of emergencies that happen here?
State of emergencies?
Yeah,
You wouldn't be overstepping.
okay. That's all I was curious about.
Okay, thank you. Council? All right, clerk, please call the roll.
Cascola,
Yes.
Kyer,
Yes.
Wendell,
Yes.
Ryan,
Yes.
Cole,
Yes.
Weinbrenner,
Yes.
Brandon.
Yes, motion carried. Lisa, will you please read item H?
Consideration Council Resolution 2026-021, authorizing Department of Public Works recommended budget amendments to the fiscal year 25-26 budget.
Do I have a first to consider item H of new business?
I'll make consideration of council resolution 2026-021, authorizing Department of Public Works recommended budget amendments to FY 25-26 budget.
I second.
We have a motion by Weinbrenner. We have support by Wendell. Director Rathberg, will you please introduce this item?
Good evening, council. You should have in front of you a few different budget amendments we need to pass through. The first one I'll talk about has to do with our last purchase of road salt. So we took our last delivery of road salt. That did put us over in our budget allotment in that line item. So I'm hoping to move $5,000 from 591-556-981 to 203-453-782. The second one would be for our water treatment plant. We've seen an increase in our chlorine costs this year as to everything is going up in cost, so we have seen an increase in that. We have probably about 2 more loads to take this year, so I'm looking to move $2,000 from 591-556-981 to 591-556-740. Additionally, we have seen an increase in chemical cost at the wastewater treatment plant. So we treat with gas chlorine at the wastewater treatment plant. We are over in that budget line, so I need to move $2,000 from 590-555-818 to 590-555-740. And also, we have a few new hires at the wastewater treatment plant. They are in the process of getting their license, so we need to send them to classes in order for them to achieve their wastewater treatment plant licenses. And so we need a little bit of a bump in our training budget, so we're asking for $350 to go from 590-555-818 to 590-555-810.
Council, any questions?
Yeah, President. Did you say 250?
350.
Okay.
350.
Okay.
I think this, the resolution needs to be amended then, because I believe I have the wrong amount on that.
Because there's, yeah, 4,000 on the amendment.
So, yeah, item 4 on the resolution will need to be amended, transferring of $350, not the 4,000 that's on there.
Good catch, Buster.
Do we need to make a, do we need to revise our motions?
No, just as amended.
Amendment.
Okay. Any further questions for Danny? Thank you, Danny.
Thank you, Council.
Any public comment on this item? Hearing none and seeing none. Council, any discussion?
I would just like to say the $5,000 for assault is actually on the cheaper end. So good job getting a deal on that, because I know there's people that needed extra in other communities who are paying upwards of probably 13 and 20 grand for that amount of salt, I'm assuming.
Yeah, Danny could talk on that a little bit too.
There is a big shortage of salt this year.
We get a pre-buy discount with MI deal. It's a state vetted contract, so we are able to buy salt at about $65 a yard. At the end of the season, people were paying $300 a ton, so.
Wow.
We do get a huge discount on the way that we buy salt. So now we do have a surplus now coming into next year's winter, so that helps.
As long as the salt bill you don't fall down.
Right.
Council, any further discussion?
Thank you, Council.
Thank you, Danny. Clerk?
I also appreciate seeing the movement between the GL items and not just from our fund.
Clerk, please call the roll.
Kyer,
Yes.
Wendell,
Yes.
Ryan,
Yes.
Cole,
Yes.
Weinbrenner,
Yes.
Koskela,
Yes.
Brandon.
Yes, motion carried. Lisa, will you please read item I?
Consideration Council Resolution 2026-022 authorizing Downtown Development Authority recommended budget amendments to the fiscal year 25-26 budget.
Do I have a first to consider item I of new business?
I'll make the motion to consider item I of new business.
We have a motion by Ryan. Do I hear support?
I'll support.
We have support by Weinbrenner. I almost called you Shannon. All right. I don't see a DDA member here to present.
There's 2,
What?
yourself and Regina, but
Well, yeah, good luck, Regina. Welcome.
I can.
If you could do that, Tim, yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, so the
I
DD
had hoped that Kevin was going to be here rather than a DDA member, but he's on vacation,
he's
right?
on vacation. He's at a conference in
Oh, okay.
Oklahoma, so I'm sure he would want to be here too. But he's having to.
He's working.
But he's getting a lot out of that. I talked to him yesterday, and he's getting a lot out of the networking opportunities. And sometimes those conferences are some of the best opportunities you can do in these positions. Is getting new methods, just new connections and ideas.
Good.
So this is moving. It's a similar budget amendment as we saw from DPW, except for that it's within the DDA and is moving $2,000. Previously, they had $10,000 budgeted for the Dickens Festival, and this is moving up to $12,000 to just $2,000, moving it from project cost and design, so just increasing that line item by $2,000. So I know this was presented previously to council looked at this. Kevin's done some work with Lisa on it.
Well, sorry.
So, yeah, and we can talk more on it, obviously. 'Cause that's what we're here
That's what I was waiting for, I apologize.
Yeah.
Let's keep it in order. Were you done?
Yeah,
Presenting?
I know there's gonna be questions, so I'll just,
Sure.
I'll wait.
Any public comment on this item? Hearing none, seeing none. Okay, Jim, kick off discussion.
So this is the item that we all went into closed session about, correct? Didn't we go into closed session? Has anyone not read?
There's been so many, I don't know.
So this is the item we went to closed session, and we had an opinion letter from Mr. Gilman. So why this is before us now, without staff talking about it ahead of time, doesn't make any sense. Nothing's changed, to my mind.
I don't think this was,
Yes.
I think that it was one of many items that were on, the budget amendments there were several things on that previous budget amendment.
Okay, so potentially, yes. I can go into further details if we want to
I mean, I think,
release, we have to release the closed session minutes or a discussion. Right now, we can't even tell them why.
I would say that if you focus on this item, you're fine.
I'm basing all my information off of a closed session meeting now.
Let me take the lead on this for a second. Mike, can we get a legal opinion?
We're still on I.
We're on I. We're not at J yet, John. Mike, can we get a legal opinion on this? That might hopefully satisfy where Jim's trying to go.
I remember a number of closed sessions dealing, in the last few months, several of them dealing with DDA. I remember one being on the budget. I don't remember this particular item as being something that I weighed in on. It may have fallen under the general DDA budget, but I don't remember this specifically, so.
So I can tell you exactly what we talked about in the closed session and about why this shouldn't be in front of us today. If that's allowed.
I will.
It's not.
It's not. I'm gonna advocate, I'll advocate for the DDA, as what I believe Kevin would say if he's here, and just to kind of
We've
represent.
already received legal advice telling us not to do this.
I think that and correct me if I'm wrong, I believe that there was two concerns regarding this particular item. One was that it doesn't follow the TIF plan. I believe that the promotions portion of the TIF plan is broad enough that an item like this could be covered under the TIF plan.
That was not the legal rationale used in our closed session.
Jim, I just don't want to get into what was specifically addressed. Now, you can simply say, I'm not in favor of this because of this, or not in favor of it because of that, but to reference it back to what was discussed, according to your memory, I just think that gets us into a.
So what we could do is we could take a vote to say, let's release that information then. And then I'm free to explain what I remember.
It would have to be.
There's no reason we couldn't waive privilege on that item, to my recollection.
No, there's nothing. As long as, again, my recollection is my opinion was broad-based. And if you're going to release the privileges as it relates to that letter, everything in that letter comes out. And I don't have that before me to know exactly, what all that entailed. But I don't remember specific budgetary items, and that could simply be bad memory. But this is a specific request. Mine, I thought, was more broad-based.
So you will remember that before we went to closed session, there were several comments saying we were going to, I think this was the meeting at least, we're going to readjust the order of stuff, and it was going to be, this is the DDA item, so we're going to discuss about this in closed session. And that's when we actually discussed these items. So it was budgetary items, and that was part of the issue.
Thomas, go ahead.
Could we just take like a short recess, go have Gilmer see the letter that we should probably still have? Do we still have the legal
It
memorandum?
would be maintained in, closed session.
And then he'd be able to give a better opinion on what Jim's asking.
I'm
But I mean,
game.
so, and then we don't have that confusion on what items
Sure.
were in it
Buckle up, gang. It's gonna be a long night. So, we have a motion on the table. Do we need to table this item?
If you, no, I think that you can simply take a 5-minute recess, and then we'll come back and we can take care of it.
All right, 5-minute break. We will resume at 7:45 by our phones, not that broken clock.
The three of us will do this, so we avoid any kind of,
Okay.
Well, there might be some people want to go out for smoke.
Huh?
Oh, I was gonna ask you to translate this, but I finally just figured it out. That's you. Oh, but I got, no, I was, just like, someone says something that should be obvious, but you're just like, what? And then it. No. Your wife's telling on you. I know. John, what are you thinking? Yeah, I think, let's see, it says, yeah, the subject is down, oh, wait, where are you at? Yeah, the subject is, it's just to review the minutes. It's just to review previous minutes, that's it. Yeah. Review the closed session minutes from March 10th. I thought I just saw that, did I not see that? Review the closed session minutes from March 10th. Yep. That's all. Nothing too interesting today. Maybe next time. Let's see, from March. Yeah, no, that would be on our March agenda. So I can pull that up.
Should list it here.
Let's see.
Minutes on whatever the subject is.
March agenda.
Okay, I just saw with a case or something. That was.
Welcome back.
Mine? Yeah. I run perimenopause, Danielle, that's all.
And we're live.
You're welcome. This is what you have to look forward to.
All right, Mr. Gildner.
Yes, ma'am. So, we found my opinion letter dated December 9, 2025. Embarrassing that that was just 4 months ago, or 5 months ago, and I do address some specific items. My request in terms of tonight in this agenda item, postpone it to a future meeting. While I've got the opinion letter that's here, I referenced the TIP plan, which wasn't easily accessible. I want to look at that and then compare that with the language of this proposed budget amendment versus what I commented on previously. If that's acceptable to you, it's one less item for you to vote on.
If we postpone it, can we add it to the special meeting that you called for?
Yeah, I think so.
We would have to, well, for a special meeting, you can only discuss items, you can't add items unless we properly notice it before that those items will be on the agenda.
Right, I think we still have plenty of time to properly notice it.
Yeah, I think, oh, you're talking about the one on the.
At the end of the month, not the budget one.
I was like, yeah, the
Not
budget one would be different.
Oh,
Yeah,
no,
one that's at the end.
I knew what you meant.
Okay.
Yeah, April 27th, I think we've got time to get your opinion before
Okay.
then and add that on there.
And then we don't have to wait till the next
Right.
month's meeting.
Agreed.
Yes,
Okay.
absolutely.
All right, so let's see, where were we? We had a motion and we had a second, and do we need to retract those?
You could motion, you'd have to motion to table.
Postpone it.
Oh, postpone, yeah,
Yeah.
not table.
So instead of retracting motions, we make a motion to postpone it.
Yes.
All right, I will entertain a motion to postpone this item until the April 27th special meeting.
I'll make a motion to postpone resolution 26-022 until the special meeting,
April 27th.
April 27th, on April 27th.
We have a motion by Wendell to postpone.
I'll second it.
We have support by Weinbrenner. And
It should be just to postpone, not to put a specific date on it, because that meeting hasn't even been
Posted
decided,
fully.
yeah, or anything, so just, it's.
So I'll make it just to postpone.
So just to postpone then,
Just to postpone,
Daniel?
yep.
And then Buster, you second, just to postpone?
Yep.
Okay. Okay, now, I don't think that we need really discussion or even public comment, since we're not really doing an item. Go ahead.
Would we have to come like individually to view it if that was the plan to review it before the next hand? Or could we make a motion to add it onto the closed session that's today? Because if the point is us to like look, is the point of postponing it for us to look and review it?
I don't think we can add closed session items on last minute because, like, to
No.
today, because it
Or
wouldn't have
we-
been noticed, right?
I'll either do a different, letter, opinion letter, or I just come prepared to discuss it. And then I can share in a general way my previous opinion.
However, if a council person would like to review closed session minutes, they can always schedule an appointment or have a time where they schedule the clerk to review those.
I just want to make sure we're.
Yep,
doing it
you can
properly.
still do that, if that's something you want to do, you can
Yeah.
do that.
So it looks like we're not going to have to release closed session item stuff. He's just going to review the stuff and give us an opinion on it. Got it, okay. So we had a motion, we had a second, and Gildner, we don't need public comment probably because yeah, we're not discussing a vote about the item itself. So Lisa, please call the roll.
Wendell,
Yes.
Ryan,
Yes.
Cole,
Yes.
Weinbrenner,
Yes.
Pascala,
Yes.
Kyer,
Yes.
Brandon.
Yes, motion carried. That item's postponed until a special meeting. Lisa, will you please read item J?
Consideration of council of FOYA appeal by Anna Mattson dated March 23rd, 2026.
Do I have a first to consider item J of new business?
I'll make the motion to consider item J of new business.
I will second.
We have a motion by Ryan, we have support by Kyer. Clerk, will you please introduce this item?
Yes. So, on January 15th, Ms. Mattson sent in a FOIA request, and I can read it out loud here. Dear Ms. Bone, under the Michigan Freedom of Information Act, I am requesting copies of several public records related to the Water and Sewer Department. Specifically, I am seeking documents authorizing debt service charges. Please provide all documents that authorizes the Village of Holly's Water and Sewer Department to levy debt service charges labeled WD and SD on the monthly bill on water and sewer accounts. This may have been by charter, ordinance, resolution, or something similar. If there was a coordinating Village of Holly Council decision to authorize these charges, I would like the minutes of that meeting. Bond payouts and closing documents last 10 years. I request copies of the closing documents of final payout statements for any bonds that have expired within the last 10 years. Additionally, for any currently active bonds, please provide documentation that indicate their scheduled payout dates or timelines. Proof of payments made on bonds. I am requesting annual payment records that detail how much has been paid each year toward each bond. Revenue in bond accounts by year. Please provide documentation showing the total revenue collected in the sewer bond account and the water bond accounts each year, going back to 2005. Note, I am looking for the total amount each year, not all line items within the year. Official bond statements and terms. For any bonds that have had, have had outstanding debt payments in the last decade, please provide the official bond statements. Fee waiver request. I request a waiver or reduction of all fees associated with this request, as disclosure of these records is in public interest and will contribute significantly to the public's understanding of the operations, oversight, and accountability of government. The requested information is not being sought for commercial purposes. Format of production, I request that all response records be provided in electronic format and delivered via email to, and then she gives her email address. So after that request, there was a response letter that was sent with a copy of the invoice. The response letter states that hold on one second, I'm trying to find the other page. It says, Dear Ms. Manson, on January 15th, you submitted a FOIA request for the following public records, copies of several public records related to the wastewater sewer department. Specifically, I am seeking, and then she lists everything that I just read in the letter. And then it says, your request is being granted in part with the respect to the following documents: bond payouts and closing documents last 10 years, proof of payments made on bonds, revenue and bond accounts by year, official bond statements and terms. And then it says, your request is being denied in part with respect to the following documents. Documents authorizing debt service charge. This information is available at no charge and is therefore not being provided as part of the village response. You can find the information in the Holly, Michigan Code of Ordinances, Title 5, Public Works, Chapter 51, Rates for Water Supply and Sewer Disposal Services, Section 51.01, HTTPS, Code and Library, Am Legal, Com, Codes, Holly, latest, Holly _Michigan. And then attached with that letter was the deposit invoice. The total invoice was for $184.62, and half of it was, there was a 50% deposit required for $92.31. And Ms. Mattson came in and paid the $92.31, and when the information was then released to her, she did not pay the other $92.31, and then she had the appeal on March 23rd, and she says, Dear Clerk Treasurer Office, I'm requesting a cost appeal of my January 15th, 2026 FOIA request titled Number 1 Water FOIA on the following grounds. I was not charged the lowest paid employee capable of doing the search as required by law. Furthermore, this information was used to inform the public about the inner workings of government. The information will be published in the Holly Post that reaches every village resident. Since this information is of public concern, being used to educate residents, I will unlawfully charge labor fees. I am requesting a full waiver of fees. Thank you, Anna Mattson.
Okay. All right, let's start with public comment. Ms. Mattson?
Anna Mattson, 15091 Western Valley. As stated, the information, well, immediately when we started the newspaper, we had multiple residents reach out to us to investigate and report what's going on in the water department. I've been paying attention to it for years, and so that triggered public records requests because we have reached out to the village numerous times for comment, and we never received comment other than the one time Chief Narsh responded, so I appreciate him for doing that. So when the village does not willingly provide transparent documentation on things, we have to resort to public records request. So that's what we did. So we did a completely unbiased article. Everything is cited and sourced to public records that we received, records that we had to go outside the village to receive, and that's what we reported on. So since the information is of public interest, it should be free for the public. And really, I think that the village should be publishing all this information on their website anyway, because this is everyone's #1 concern. If you survey the public, they will tell you water is their #1 concern. So these documents should not have to be with a fee when someone asks for transparency. These bonds are near and dear to everyone's heart, and they wanted to learn about them, and I provided them that information. Now, if you are going to charge, you legally can only charge the lowest paid employee capable of the search. In 2024, I did a request on water records, and I believe at the time, the employee was $16 an hour. That employee, from my understanding, has been given a raise to $20 and change. So that is what I should be charged because that person is capable of going through water records. Nothing is proprietary that I asked for. The lowest paid employee can do the search, and it's whether they do the search or not as long as they're capable. And yet I'm being charged $27 an hour. So again, these arbitrary rates should not stand. And also,
Nope.
No, you're okay. You have
Mattson.
45 seconds
Please
left.
come back up. We'll start your 45 seconds over. Go ahead.
Also, I just want to say that I'm doing this out of civility again because as we found out in your special meeting, you do not have a head of the public body. And so technically there is no pathway to appeal FOIA cost or FOIA decisions. But I'm doing what you guys appear to just kind of made up, but there's nothing in your policy that says that this board is the head of the public body. And the appeal instructions have to say who the head of the public body is, and the clerk said that she was the head of the public body, that I had to submit my appeal to her, which means that she thinks that she's the head. So.
Now that was your time.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Mattson. Public comment. Hearing none, seeing none. Council. So I think I'd like to start. Lisa, can you address the accusation of overcharging Ms. Mattson? Which lowest paid employee is capable? How much are they paid an hour? She was charged $27 an hour. Can you?
Yes, so the $27 is for Tessa. Tessa had to call several of our, Budzinski and the people with the bonds because, again, the records that we were looking through and everything, we could not find the information that Ms. Mattson was requiring, so we had to contact them. I do not have somebody who is capable of making these calls to these people because the girls that work at the counter that's the lowest paid rate cannot call and get bond information. They would not get the information that Ms. Mattson was requiring.
I see, thank you. Counsel, go ahead.
I do kind of agree that there is a public need for this information. I mean, the water bonds and just the cost of water in general has been in the public eye since before probably all of us were on council. And it even predates before this administration. So the fact that we didn't already have this information available is kind of perplexing to me. And I think the wording of the appeal itself set aside, just the fact that it would be a benefit to the public knowing this information, so many people want it, that we should just provide it. And that's where I'm pretty much at with it, regardless of the personnel cost to get it.
No, I would agree with Mr. Ryan. Now, one item that I would point out is on one page, it says it's for community good and it's not for profit. But then it is being published in the paper, which I would have to assume is business related.
A paper that's free.
That has advertisements nonetheless, so it is for commercial purposes. Doesn't matter.
I'm also going to agree with Mr. Ryan that I do think this is information that should be published and things that are, every person in Holly should have available to them. I don't disagree with that. I do disagree with the wording that it is not for profit. And while I understand it is a free paper, it is not a 501c3. It is handled under an LLC, which is registered through the state of Michigan. I looked it up, and so that it does, you know, clearly somebody advertisements, however they collect their money, they do. But this is information that I do think that we should have available. I think all of this stuff should be digitized. Clearly, we don't have the money to put it all digital yet, but I do agree with Mr. Ryan that this was information that, while Ms. Mattson might have been the first to request it, is not something that other people don't want to have in their hands.
Okay. Counsel?
One last one. I would like to thank Ms. Mattson for reaching out and talking to someone else before going through all different steps. And if you are having issues getting answers, shoot us an email, because as you know, you mentioned to us previously, Ms. Mattson has mentioned to us previously, they work for us. So if we can avoid other meetings or appeals, whatever, that would be great.
I also want to say, I do understand why Tessa's rate was the one that was charged, but the part of this being for public consumption is where I'm basing this. I don't think, if this was any other means, just of, you know, you're creating the documents, I don't disagree with the rate that was charged. And I do understand the needing to make this public.
Okay. All right, clerk, please call the roll. What?
What was the motion?
Just
See-
to,
appeal it.
It's just to appeal it.
So make a motion. I'll entertain, oh, wait, what was the motion? It was just to consider it.
just to consider, yeah.
Just to consider it. So to consider it, what does that mean? Would that be to approve the appeal?
Motion, a separate motion to approve or deny the appeal and the reason for it. And you don't need to do anything with the consideration, you've done that.
We've considered that doesn't need to be voted on, so now I can entertain a motion. And you make your motion the way you make your motion.
I make the motion to appeal this FOIA request.
To approve.
To approve this appeal of the FOIA request.
On the basis of public benefit, is that how you wanted it?
Well,
On the basis of public benefit so it should be no cost.
We have a motion by Tom Ryan to approve the appeal on the basis of public benefit. Do I have support?
I'll second it.
We have support by Weinbrenner. Okay, clerk, please call the roll.
Ryan,
Yes.
Cole,
Yes.
Weinbrenner,
Yes.
Koskela,
Yes.
Kyer,
Yes.
Wendell,
Yes.
Brandon.
Yes, motion carried. I know this doesn't happen very often, but I happen to agree with Mattson about not currently having a head of body. but I think I mentioned that at a certain meeting we all might remember. As item K will move us into, wait. Nope, there's other stuff. Hold on here. Yep.
New
Okay.
business item N, which was old business.
So old item C. And who pulled that? Was that you?
That would be me.
Tom Ryan? All right, can you
Introduced by.
introduce?
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so I pulled this originally because procedurally, we had to stop to take a short recess to get the information provided for us to make a decision. And I feel like that should be reflected in the minutes. So just like a brief summary of that in the minutes, and that's it.
I'm sorry, can you say that one more time?
So when we, one of our breaks we took was in the middle of, before the appeals started. We didn't have the appeals in front of us to review. So procedurally, we had to pause the meeting, took a break to get the materials and then reviewed them. I just wanted that reflected in the minutes, like a brief summary of that.
So you're saying the break was not in the minutes?
No, the break was in the minutes. I just want the reason for that break in the minutes reflected.
And per OMA, we don't have to go into detail about every item.
Correct.
Correct.
He believes that it just should be added for our understanding, if they would like it added, it's their minutes, so.
Right.
But it's my understanding that's her minutes, though. That's the clerk's minutes. That's what, there's been a discussion at a previous meeting about that same thing, about making fine-tooth changes.
Yeah, this question comes up all over the place, and that is, sometimes there's a push and pull between the clerk and audience members and council. There is no answer, right answer. Everybody, it's up to individual bodies to determine what is appropriate. All the OMA says is that it must reflect action taken. But there are some minutes where the municipality strives to do it verbatim. So in this instance, if you wish to add it, it's up to council ultimately. They're your minutes. She is responsible for preparing them in the first instance, but you decide whether they need to be amended or not.
Council, what are your thoughts? No, okay. So, Tom, do you want to make your motion and see if it gets support? We'll start there.
I move to amend the minutes to reflect that the requested FOIA appeals for review were not readily available, and we took action to, well, we took a break to receive that information to review, and I would like it reflected in the minutes.
Okay. Do we have support?
I'll support that motion.
Okay. Clerk, please call the roll.
Cole?
Yes.
Weinbrenner?
Yes.
Cascola?
No.
Kyer?
No.
Wendell?
Yes.
Ryan?
Yes.
Brandon?
No. And I'm sorry, I lost count of votes there, Lisa.
The yeas got it.
4-3.
The yeas got it? All right, motion carried. We're on old item J.
Which is new business item O.
Okay.
Is that the one I wanted to pull down?
Yes.
Yes, Jim, why don't you introduce why you pulled it?
So there are some changes this year to the farmer's market. President Brandon and I did receive communications from one of the vendors with some questions about that. And I think the big item is, my understanding is there was staff and park planner.
I can talk a little bit more
Okay.
about it if you want.
So,
Sorry.
I think it's a good idea. I'll just say that. I think the changes are good, but I just wanted to highlight it for anyone watching or that was misunderstanding or needing clarification of what the changes were. So basically the change is, if we have a business downtown or anywhere else that is doing the same thing as a vendor would come in and do, for instance, the person that contacted us had coffee. And they said, hey, I have coffee, I'm starting starting a business and I was depending on this income, and then the rules have now been changed saying no, or the suggestions have been changed saying, no, we're not gonna do that, to hopefully support our local businesses.
But allowing coffee would hurt both Sip and Saddle and Battle
Yeah,
Alley
exactly.
Brew.
And I
Or
brought that
Battle
up
Alley Coffee.
previously about that same thing of food trucks coming in, and we have all these businesses here that are paying taxes, employing local people, and it seems like, almost hurts them, it hurts them a little bit, I think, and that's not what I like to say, so.
So what you're saying is, by doing this, it's showing council and staff support for our DDA businesses.
This was something that DDA worked on us with. We worked with the DDA on this. And Councilmember Koskela contacted me beforehand on this, and I agree this should have been on new business. I actually even, in my correspondence, I stated that this would be a new business. Being just an old special event, I put it on consent, but there was enough changes that should have predicated it being on new business. That wasn't the only change, just essentially the farmer's market, the village was having to pay for a lot because we didn't have our trash services. Like, we were just taking care of trash. So we had to formalize an agreement with them and how we were gonna do trash moving forward. We were losing on background investigations that we had to do on all the people, the permits, all those. So we had to really redo that whole agreement. Part of it was also the request of them, as you're bringing food trucks in, until we have an established food truck policy, I just said, it would be beneficial if it wasn't someone that they can walk to in our downtown businesses. The whole point of having a farmer's market is to encourage traffic into our downtown businesses. And not only that, but 2 of our coffee vendors in this example also have food trucks. So ask them first. And also, if you're gonna bring pizza in, see if Big Papa's would do it, or try to default to a local business, a brick and mortar, to support them first. And I will say that Diane Reagan has been more than willing to work with us in all of this, and she's been very patient with me as we're trying to establish these new processes, and has worked with us a lot, and I just really appreciate her doing that. And there's also other changes in regards to that we now have the depot has been moved, and it's still a construction site, so they're not going to be able to utilize that site for parking. We've now done overnight parking procedures, which limits their space as well. And so we're really looking at, and this is part of the reason why I've brought it to parks in the past, about, hey, what would it look like if we were to move the farmer's market to Cyclone Park? And obviously there's not enough parking here right now, and we don't want to further stress residents with that. So that's something hopefully we can look at maybe in the future to better utilize this space and meet some of the needs we have for this park here. So, and also the farmer's market.
I'll entertain a motion to approve item N.
This would be O, I believe.
Item O. I'll entertain a motion to approve
Make
item
that
O.
motion.
I'll second the motion.
We have a motion by Koskela, we have a second by Wendell. Clerk, please call the roll.
Cole?
Yes.
Weinbrenner?
Yes.
Koskela?
Yes.
Kyer?
Yes.
Wendell?
Yes.
Ryan?
Yes.
Brandon?
Yes, motion carried. As Kay will move us into closed session, we will have reports, as we'll adjourn after closed session. Tim, do you have anything to report?
We'd had budget work session last week. We have another budget work session this Saturday. I don't think it'll be the end of our budget work sessions. We're going to continue to work on this. I appreciate everyone's patience as we're going through this. We're doing it a little bit different than last year. We're letting the department heads present a little bit more of their wish lists, and having council, last year it was more, hey, we recognize we're in a deficit, an emergency situation, this is what we need to do to get by. This year, council is really driving more policy for us so we can determine what our priorities are moving forward, and I appreciate all the correspondence that's already happened, and that will continue to happen on that. I did want to, because George came here in an official capacity, I'll respond to that as well. First of all, I just want to apologize to him for not coming to him. I should have reached out to him on that. Similarly, I wish when he had received a complaint that he would have come to me rather than it being relayed as it was. How it was relayed was through the assessor, came to us, to Lisa and myself, and expressed that he felt he was being micromanaged by the supervisor, and that he came in and watched him doing it and told him he can't do anything for the village without coming to him first. That's how it was expressed. We even had him reiterate. I said, hey, did you come to him or did he come to you? Because that's a very important distinction. And he reiterated to us that the supervisor came to him. Obviously, that is not what is being relayed to us from him, so I've already scheduled a meeting to talk to the assessor about that, to get some clarity on that. And also was reiterated again during a phone call with Municipal Analytics when we called the assessor and we asked the same questions when we were trying to get some of this information. Yeah, so I just apologize to him. I could have handled that better too, where I went directly to him in regard to this. I was working with the information I had at the time. But yeah, we have a lot of meetings coming up and a lot of budget sessions that we're deep in, and appreciate everyone.
Mike or Lisa, do either of you have one?
I don't.
I have a real quick one. So I'm going to give my FOIA report for the month of March. The village received 10 FOIA requests. We have completed and closed the 10. We have one historical request that's awaiting payment of deposit, and we have one historical request that was abandoned, and we have one historical request in lawsuit status. And then we had the one in the appeal for today. The village tax settlement is due to Oakland County by the end of April, so I'm working on that, trying to get that done. They are going to be closing the site on the 17th, and then they're not opening again till the 27th, so that gives me literally 4 days to get it done. Also, the village manager, department, and heads and I are currently working on the budget as he had stated. And that, on a positive note, I wanted to let everybody know that today I opened up a new account with, a money market account with Choice One, and we will be moving some of our monies into this money market account. And right now, we are only receiving 0.05% interest on our monies. So I'll just use an example, like right now we're getting $3,000 in interest, and the new money market will be getting approximately 3.15%. So even if I move, $6 million into that account, we're talking about $15,000 a month. So that's gonna be a gain of like about $12,000 a month just in interest.
And just for clarification on that, because I know this was an item that was last month, we wanted to verify that we had a resolution that supported that the treasurer had the authority to make these changes, and that resolution was found and identified. So that's why we proceeded with the actions.
Jim?
I have a massive headache here, so I'm trying to get my thoughts. I'm going to put Mr. Gilden on the spot here. Glasses coming on.
That's what happens.
So last night at the DDA meeting, there was a board member that brought up and said they like to ask tough questions. And I was like, okay, I like that. So a tough question for you that I can ask here is, if me, Councilman Jim Koskela, were to ask Daniel to plow the driveway out here and pay him $500 and not have any discussion on that, is that allowed? Can I do that?
You can, yeah, sure you could.
So in the village can reimburse me for that?
Well, it's a different question. You're asking someone to do something is a different story. Having the township, the village pay for it, requires village council approval.
The whole council?
The whole council.
Okay, perfect. I'll just do yours too. My mind's shot here, so I apologize everyone watching at home. I have 2 kids and they decided to
Keep you up all night?
Well, 5 hours. So he had a 1-hour nap, and it turned into a 5-hour awake all night. So
I don't miss those days.
DDA discussed. It sounded like sharing some expenses with the downtown. So reimbursing us for expenses downtown, which I was happy to hear. The part that I didn't like to hear was they're allocating $10,000 to an attorney to negotiate on their behalf to come up with a contract for that, or up to $10,000. So that just seems like we're wasting a ton of money there for 2 attorneys to be talking with each other. So not good there. Mr. Price.
You got your glasses on?
Can the glasses come off?
I like either or.
So we don't pay the assessor through the village, but village residents pay taxes to the township to pay for the assessing duties, so,
Okay.
yeah. That's, I would verify that with the clerk, is that true? True statement? We don't
We
actually.
don't pay, no,
yeah,
we don't pay assessing fees, no.
Yeah.
I probably got something else, but I can't remember anything right now, so.
I will clarify one other thing, because it has been brought up tonight, it was brought up last night about processes and such. I could have brought it up during appointments. So people ask why why appointments are made by the village president and confirmed by council. That isn't an ordinance we have here, that is through PA 57 for all appointments. So any DDA across the state utilizes the same processes, because that's how PA 57 says the executive leader of the municipality will make the appointments approved by the governing body. So that's just a point of clarification on that. So if people are saying, hey, you know, we have to change our ordinance here, it's not our ordinance, it's the state's requirements. And that's how appointments are done for almost every municipality has that. I mean, everyone does for DDA, but for all appointments, so.
Last item I have. All right, this is for sure. Got one more?
Yes.
Thank you, Pro Tem. So, I do want to thank Clerk Treasurer for finding that resolution. I had talked previously to prior staff, and they're like, don't know about it. So, I can't imagine how many boxes you had to go through to find that, so.
We're gonna do a scavenger hunt one of these days. Should have it Easter.
You guys are more than welcome anytime to come in and volunteer to look through boxes. I'm.
Tell me where and when.
Yep.
That was really it.
Buster?
No, I don't have anything tonight.
Tom?
I just have a question for Tim. I know originally with the assessor conversation came up over the weekend. It was about knowing how much money we had coming in. Did we ever get like how much assessing for the village itself, not the outer township cards for like what the analytic company was requesting or whatever, but just for ours? So coming up on the weekend, would we have a better picture of finances?
Yeah, we have our taxable value for us locally. We've had that. It was really, and we had requested it months ago from when we started this process from the assessor at the time. That's when we found out our assessor changed from Oakland County to a contracted assessor. But no, yeah, we have the or our projections for that, and also through John's contacts, he actually was able to get us the other information we requested. Through his sources, he was able to get it. We ended up reaching out to Oakland County, we reached out to SIMCOG through all their GIS, and we were able to compile the data needed, so.
And the last question I had, do we have like a timeline for the CIP? Because I know like we need it for us, and they said they need it to help with their projections as well. Do we know?
So we have a draft, like a basic, again, it's just a spreadsheet. Now usually CIPs only go out like 10 years. This one goes out 30, 40 years as far as the projections on it. Realistically, we don't know where we're gonna be at in 40 years, but it will allow us, so we already have it done. What we don't have is, you know, when are we going to do these things and how much money we wanna invest in that. So at the next meeting, I'm hoping to at least bring the draft of it out in front of council and say, all right, this is kind of what we're looking at. These are assets. These are when he talks about $10 million in major roads, $5 million in local roads. These are the priorities. I mean, I don't know if I did it in the last meeting, I pulled up the Pacer map to kind of show a general idea of that. But we're also looking at like the wastewater and water treatment, all of the improvements that need to be made there. Some of them we haven't even identified like yet, because we don't know. When I talked about like I&I in our system, we haven't even identified what those expenses will be. And so there are still some question marks that will probably be in the way of engineering studies that we're gonna have to determine. But yes, we will have the draft of that, and that we are gonna have to complete as a group. So.
Thank you.
Daniel?
Well, HTC did meet last week. We did a walk of downtown, inspecting all the renovations that were done that weren't approved by HTC standards, and we got our, I can't think of the name of that book now. But basically our rules and code of conduct for the HDC guidelines. We've got that, we're reviewing that. At our next meeting, we're gonna go ahead and changes we have, and then this will be submitted to council. There's two things I do wanna comment on. One of them is, the depot, is it still open? Wide open? Cause the main door wood was gone.
I know that it was open for when they were doing the drainage of it, because it had some, with all the rain, it was doing some flooding. I don't know the current status of it, I'm looking over, it's still open, so, yeah. So
Oh, as long as we know, that's all I was, I wanna make sure the
So we
wind
obviously
didn't
need to
blow
secure
something down and
whatever
nobody
we have
caught it.
done, So,
And my other thing was, I know I came to you a couple of months ago about Sun Communities, the trailer park on the north end, about the water draining issue. And I did make a comment on a Facebook post to them that it's a private property, that the village our hands are tied, but I want them to know that we're gonna do everything we can to help them out. And, I know that you had told me, if I'm not mistaken, that it can be looked into as an unsanitary thing for them because their drains aren't draining right?
so, here, let me do a little.
If I'm speaking correctly, I don't know.
So yeah, so it is private infrastructure. They own the infrastructure in there, and they're responsible for the maintenance of it. We do have some controls about it in regards to flooding. It's actually chapter 156 in our ordinance, and it actually specifically spells out like mobile home requirements that need to be addressed in regards to flooding concerns. And so we've already looked at, as a staff, like, all right, how are we holding them accountable? I mean, when there was flooding, Danny and I, and this is a day that I was returning from being off, when I was dealing with kids, Danny and I probably spent 5 or 6 hours out there just going over the system with the staff out there. Hey, this is, what we believe is the cause of this. We ended up getting the railroad safety officers out there through coordination with Chief Narsh, because one of our reserve officers works for the railroad, and so they were out there helping us as well. So although it is their responsibility, we still try to hold them accountable for it, right? Just, if there's a public safety concern, we're holding them accountable. If they're not meeting zoning, I understand that if you don't actually see us posting videos online saying that, hey, we're out here doing this, you might not know that, but,
I knew that we were out there doing something.
I'm not saying you, I'm just saying the public.
Yeah.
And so like Officer Gaudier was out there quite a bit. Last year when we had issues, he was out there to respond to it in regards to public safety, because kids had to cross water to go to school. So we held them accountable for that. So there are mechanisms that we can utilize. What I can't do is I can't necessarily send Danny and his crew in there to fix it for them without risking like litigation and concerns with that. There are mechanisms that we could do that, but it's not probably the best usage of our staff's time when it's a private infrastructure, when we have other concerns.
No, 100% agree.
At the time.
No, I wanted the public to know that we do hear them, and we're trying to do the best we can, but there's only so much we can do because we don't own that infrastructure.
But again, we don't know that is correct, but we are holding them accountable. And again, a lot of things happen behind the scenes, and we try to do that for the benefit of the Sun Communities in this case.
I'm going to be addressing some of this, just to.
Oh, thank you, Madam President, I didn't know.
It's okay.
Would this be considered under emergency vehicles too, that couldn't get through for medical reasons or something?
Absolutely, that could be a consideration too. If we could not, if they are not maintaining their infrastructure in a manner that we cannot render aid, we can require them to do certain things. Absolutely.
Thank you.
Shannon.
I think we were all on the same page with trying to figure out stuff with the trailer park. And it was a holiday weekend. I had people reach out to me. I can vouch for our guys because on Monday morning I was on the phone, sending texts, emailing Tim, and everybody was already meeting and had already been on the scene by the time I had sent something. So that was already handled before I got there. What I would like to say in this moment, just in reflection of some meetings, some past meetings, is I would like to see for our next budget or our next May meeting, whatever it is, if our policies and procedure committee can get together and tighten up some of this stuff, whether it's FOYA, the head of the body, when it comes to that, I think it is time. There is absolutely no reason why we can't get something on that. Whatever best practices it was, historic things, it's time to close that, whatever loophole that is, and put clear, concise data and wording online for people to see and what they need to do. I don't have any reports as far as buildings and grounds, even though, Danny, I'd love to meet with you and we can talk about some of the things that you guys need. I think I'm the only one on the committee, so.
I think I'm on there too.
I'm happy to voice that stuff for you guys. And then as far as trees, because that's my happy place, is Neighborhood Forest is donating. We've got a delivery happening in the works tomorrow. I just love to say to them that I've got a case of trees coming because I think it stresses people out. It's only 37 pounds, so it's not super big. But we are getting quaking aspens. So all the families who signed up in the village, township, and students just in Holly area schools who are coming out to our Parks Cleanup Day, Amber, don't mean to steal your thunder, that
Yeah, she
signed up,
does.
they are going to get a quaking aspen tree, which is native to Michigan, which is a beautiful yellow tree in the fall, and I can't wait to see what people post and do with those. So, thank you guys.
On that, there also just a reminder that Arbor Day, I believe, is April 24th. We'll do a tree planting in just kind of commemoration of our Tree City USA designation and all that. Or we'll put all that on social media. So.
Amber?
Yes. Thanks for stealing my thunder, Shannon.
Get that thunder back.
So Parks met last week. We are going over trying to spend down our budget for this year before the new fiscal year. We've got some ideas for playground equipment and roll-off docks, but we will be coming back in May to submit the 3 bids to stay within our purchasing policy. And then hopefully approve that, and then it'll come to you guys, and you will hopefully approve that, and we can get some new playground equipment into our parks. We also have the cleanup on April 25th. We will meet up at Waterworks. We've decided there will be some people that will work at Waterworks, and then some people that will also be working here at Cyclone to get rid of some of this brush along the fence lines. And then just lastly.
As long as it isn't flooded? As long as it isn't flooded?
Wear your boots.
Rain or shine.
Rain or shine, we will be there. Thank you guys for approving the Monarch Day. I really appreciate that. And then lastly, just to reiterate what everybody has said, I want to say thank you to our staff for working on Easter and making sure that our people are safe. And as has been said, there's a lot of things that go on behind the scenes, and just because you don't see it on social media doesn't mean that it's not happening.
Yes, thank you guys so much.
Okay, thank you. I'll start with the uncomfortable piece. Earlier, there were some comments made by Leslie Jorgensen regarding her endorsement that she was requesting of the, Haya was requesting the president to put on the agenda for council consideration, and there was a performance implying safeguarding based on alliances. That accusation is ill-founded, and I resent the implication, as I take great pride in being able to work with capable residents, regardless of any affiliations. I assure you this decision was based solely on your actions, and she is aware of this. We had an email exchange earlier today. She sent an email asking why, and I said, this is a matter you should be following up with on Haya, the Holly Area Youth Assistance. I informed Tina Alvarado last Saturday that I would not be moving forward with placing your endorsement on a council agenda, while I had previously indicated that I did not see an issue with doing so. Based on new information, that is no longer the case. It has come to my attention that you publicly supported statements asserting that the village was not taking action in response to the recent flooding in the mobile home parks, including questioning whether the village planned to get involved and suggesting the issue was not being addressed. You also affirmed comments characterizing the situation as being ignored. These statements were made without direct communication or verification and did not reflect the reality of the situation. You also made statements suggesting the situation was being treated as, quote, just the trailer parks, end quote, implying the village staff were disregarding or minimizing the needs of these residents. And, you know, I sit here and I reflect. who is the face of DPW? And that's that man right there. That's Danny Rathsberg. Those statements are not reflective of this village, of its staff, or of Danny. Village staff and employees respond comprehensively and without distinction. They worked continuously throughout Easter weekend, including the holiday itself, to address impacts across the entire community. This included providing resources and assistance to the mobile home park, despite the infrastructure being outside village jurisdiction. Publicly disparaging village staff while they are actively responding to an emergency situation is not consistent with a candidate seeking village council endorsement. Public statements and conduct favor directly into decisions regarding village council endorsements, or for me to put one on the agenda for village council to consider. As a result, I will not be placing this item on a council agenda or supporting your endorsement at this time. For clarity, she referenced that she applied last October. The council liaison was not informed that a request was needed to be made to place, so we didn't have all the information until February, didn't get the resume until March, and that's why it wasn't being considered until April. Moving on to DDA. Here's an update from our DDA meeting last night. We reaffirmed some decisions because there was a clerical error on the time, and I think it was on the DDA website. They had put down that the meeting was starting at 6 when it started at 5:30 or something like that. So we, in a show of good faith, reaffirmed some of those decisions to make sure that they couldn't be called into question. We did a resolution of appreciation that was unanimously passed for Hillary Allgaier and Trina Greenway. There was a draft of the budget. Kevin is suggesting an email policy. Everyone voted yes. There was a DDA ambassador program presented that I'm kind of against. I feel like they're trying to I thought that it was kind of giving away work that the DDA is responsible for, and Tarina pointed out it was some of the director's duties that they wanted to hand out to residents, but the residents wouldn't be sworn in, they wouldn't be elected, and they'd be able to say that they're direct representatives of the DDA to businesses. And I'm not comfortable with the OMA violations and other things that could open us up for. Those are avoidable risks, in my opinion. But there was no vote made on it. No decisions were made at the time. Kevin's gonna look at it, look at our feedback, and kind of decide where to go from there. And then they're doing a DDA planning retreat. That's the long and short of that. And so what do we need to do with this head of body issue? I was kind of hoping the council would come up with something. Should we start off maybe with a legal opinion from Gilner? Because at our last meeting, we didn't have Gilner here. We had...
Was it Chris? Chris was here last? I think Chris came last time. I think I need to meet with Mike and get some clarification. I think that our understanding from that meeting was that council believed they were the head of the public body after that meeting, because they were saying that they did not believe it was the village president, that they believed it was the rest of council was the head of the public body. I think that we need to do a resolution regardless to clarify that, at least for FOYA purposes, stating whether or not, for the FOIA reasons, it is the village council or the village president. Last time that our clarification was that it would be the village president. If the council wants to go the direction of it being the entire council for appeals.
I think I'd like to start with a written legal opinion from Gilner if the council kind of consensus backs that up, because we didn't have him here. We didn't have a chance to sit down, maybe have some more feedback on it. We had a guy kind of on the spot in the moment who isn't our regular. What do you guys think? Just kind of a consensus?
I agree, because it's not my
100%.
interpretation that the president itself isn't the head of the council, but I think policy and procedures for FOIA need to be better spelled out. That is where I was at in that.
I second what you said.
Get a letter from Mike, guys? Yes, no?
Sure.
Sure?
I mean, I don't think it's necessarily gonna be any different than what his colleague told us, how we're gonna be making the decision, so I don't know if we want to spend the extra expense on it or just have it as an item to discuss in the future, because that's what it's gonna come down to, is what council wants.
All right, well, it looks like,
Well, I'll put my 2 cents in like this, is that, In my eyes, April is the head of the body because she is our village president.
We're going to be debating this in the future, so I don't want to get caught up in it right now.
I was just gonna say, only thing I would do is like if it's a FOIA thing, then that's when we need to meet as a council on it first.
Yeah, I think before I'd be comfortable writing a resolution that we actually have legal input from our regular attorney.
Yeah, that too. Thank you.
I fully agree with you,
I
April.
fully agree that we need
All right,
some
that looks like,
guidance here.
it looks like the
to our
consensus of council, so let's do that. Okay. If that concludes reports. All right, Lisa, will you please read item K of new business?
Consideration of village council to enter into closed session to review the closed session minutes from March 10th, 2026 pursuant to the Open Meetings Act 276 of 1976.
Do I have a first to consider item K of new business?
I'll make consideration of K for the village council to enter into a closed session, review closed session, minutes from March 10th, 2026 pursuant to the Open Meeting Act of 276 of 1976.
I second.
We have a motion by Weinbrenner, second by Kyer. Clerk, please call the roll.
Wendell,
Yes.
Ryan,
Yes.
Cascola,
Yes.
Weinbrenner,
Yes.
Cole,
Yes.
Kyer,
Yes.
Brandon.
Yes, motion carried. turn your mic back on if you push the button. Are we on? Oh, we're live. Do I have a first to consider returning to open session?
I'll make the motion to return to open session.
I'll second it.
Motion by Ryan, second by Weinbrenner. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay. Motion carried. Lisa, will you please read item L of new business?
Consideration of the approval of the village council closed session meeting minutes of March 10th, 2026.
Clerk, please call the roll.
Do we have to have a motion first to approve
Oh,
them?
yeah, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Do I have a first to consider item, is this L?
L,
Of
yeah,
new
L.
business?
I'd make it, but I don't think I can.
I will make the motion to consider item L of new business, consideration of the village council closed session minutes of March 10th, 2026.
Motion by Cole. Can someone else that was present?
Second.
Support by Kyer.
At least had someone else's present.
Clerk, please call the roll.
Ryan,
I abstain, I was absent.
Koskela,
Yes.
Weinbrenner,
Yes.
Cole,
Yes.
Kyer,
Yes.
Wendell,
I recused because I wasn't there for the full entire meeting.
Brandon.
Yes, motion carried. We will now adjourn the April 14th meeting of Village Council. The next regular meeting will be May 12th.
2 days for my birthday.
Yeah, but we do have a budget session Saturday, April 18th, 2026
And I heard Tim's bringing omelet.
at 9 a.m. Yeah, so budget meeting